But now,
Should,
can you hear me now?
hello,
Or can
hello,
I hear?
hello, hello,
Oh
hello.
yeah, yeah, I can hear you. Okay, yeah,
Hey,
I just had to
what's up, man?
change my audio.
How you doing?
Today for a long time.
I'm sorry for making you wait for a good 30.
Uh,
I woke up.
it's
I woke up 4 hours ago. Then I was like, I'll take a little siesta, a little more. I'll go back to bed really fast, and then I woke up again like 10 minutes ago. I was like, what the fuck? Oh my
okay.
god.
Well, I wasn't gonna be the first to say it, but when you first called me, I was like, maybe I should just say good morning.
Yeah.
And I guess I wasn't
Oh,
too
100%.
far from the truth.
Dude,
That's cool.
my body is just like going through this cycle of awkward sleep lately. I don't know. Sorry about that.
Oh really? Oh no,
And
dude, it's totally cool.
it
I quit my job to be a pro Starcraft player, so I got out. No, I'm just kidding, but yeah, it's
You're like, I got this is everything to me. Come on, man. Yeah, yeah. I just like some nights I'll sleep for like 2 or 3, and some nights I'll sleep for like 9. Like it's like 2 or 3 for like 4 times in a row. Then it's like a solid 9. At some point, it's like a hibernate.
Oh,
Uh,
okay. Yeah, I generally need about 9 hours and 22 minutes exactly,
yeah.
and that's when
Oh,
I automatically wake up.
damn, dude.
Otherwise, I
You
don't.
got a good body clock. But yeah,
Sweet.
how's your you're very energetic. I love it, dude. Hell yeah. How's
Hey,
your StarCraft been going?
so I go through phases of anything in life. So generally, like in 2017, I had this major StarCraft phase. I went to BlizzCon, got all excited, and then every like year or so, I tend to get back into it. So I think I'm kind of back in that phase. Although for the last many months, dude, on the airplane or going to driving over wherever, I'd always have your BDGM series downloaded on YouTube and be watching it all the time. So ever since then, I feel like for the first time in my life playing StarCraft, literally since I was a kid for 20 years, my mind finally got opened up a few months ago to what macro really is. But even then, I have plenty of bad habits. Some I know about, plenty I probably don't even know about. And I figured that, I love your coaching when you do it on YouTube, but I always wish that someone could watch me play because, like if you try to train a dog, and the dog's peeing on your floor, you tell him 15 minutes later, "Hey, remember that time you peed? You probably shouldn't have done that." I'm not going to remember. But if I'm peeing right then, or the dog is peeing, and you say, "No, right now, stop doing that. Do this instead." I feel like that's how, that's what it takes.
Like how you said, if I'm peeing right now. Yeah, no, I mean, it makes sense. Uh, Coaching definitely can help you get a different perspective too, and especially if it's from someone who can see problems very fast and what looks wrong in someone's gameplay. So,
Sure.
hell yeah, man. So I know we've talked before, and just to make sure we're on the same track here, you wanted to have me watch you like play ladder through like a stream share, correct? And then kind of talk about it.
Sure, that I would love to do that. And obviously you're the boss, so you decide what you think is best, but I would love to just play. And then at any point, you like if you backseat drive me or you tell me to stop, or maybe the first game you want to watch, and whatever you think is fine, but I have no problem with you talking while I'm playing.
Yeah, no worries.
And then afterwards, let's say that we want to stop and like you do a typical replay evaluation since we'll have just seen the game. If you want to jump through key spots, whatever you think is appropriate, I'm all yours.
All right. I mean, that sounds good to me. So all you have to do then is to make probably the best way I could critique you would be if you can log into StarCraft 2 and then screen share me on Discord. Uh, I'll be able to watch like
Yeah.
how you like move your mouse and everything. Like I'll actually see pretty much what you're doing for the most part, and then it looks clean. Oh man, it looks good. And we will. I'm gonna put this on my screen. All right.
Okay, so let me know if wait, hopefully you can did I share the right screen?
Yeah, no, I can see. I can see your StarCraft.
Okay. Okay, so wait, so how does this? Let me just check here. Okay, so yeah, if the quality's bad, let me know. I'm using the free version, but I think I can upgrade to 1080p for $5, so let's see how it goes.
Sure. Right now it looks pretty good. It's very viewable. The last time someone did this for me, I don't at their computer I think was just like it's like a really outdated laptop. So like
Okay.
it would freeze every like for 7 seconds straight, and then it would show me like 1 second of a clip snip like a snippet, and then it would freeze again. This is very viewable. I can see your mouse moving though.
Okay, I got some porn downloading in the back, so if it
No worries.
doesn't work,
I
I can stop those
honestly
downloads.
don't. The priority number one, right? You got to keep that shit going. Because what are you gonna do after this?
I
Wait.
was gonna practice some more StarCraft, but yeah, yeah,
Okay. Yeah.
you're
Yeah. Good. Good.
right. Okay, cool. So yeah, let me know how it goes, and then I don't know if the audio comes through or not, but
It
you let me know. Let me know if
it
something
does.
is
I
bad for your
sure.
Twitch, and I can turn it off.
Sure. Sounds good. But I
Cool.
think you're good to go, dude. I'm ready to help you out here.
All right, let's see. So yeah, I always like to. I have the StarCraft 2 soundtrack because I don't like the Zerg music as much. I like the Terran music, so I always play that in the background when I'm playing.
Yeah. A lot of times I actually have like I like the Brood War soundtrack a lot for StarCraft 2.
Same. Oh yeah, 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 yeah. Brood War as well.
Yeah. A lot of times when I'm not listening to that, I listen to just like WoW classic stuff, like Barons or like Stranglethorn Vale or just in general
Oh
WoW
yeah,
classic.
yesterday you were. I remember you were playing that yesterday.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
Okay, so
Hey man, I'm ready to witness. We're gonna.
all right.
So wait, just I guess I mean it's not gonna show me your MMR. You're Diamond 3. Are you kind of lower or like upper Diamond 3?
I'm not really sure. I think I'm
Sure.
appropriately where I am.
Okay, no
I think
worries.
yeah, I'm pretty much.
I mean it's not gonna change much about what I'm gonna say. It's because Diamond is kind of just Diamond.
That's what I figured.
Yeah.
So yeah, I've hovered between Diamond 3 and Diamond 2.
Okay, cool.
Okay, so generally I haven't really gotten into the thing of doing your drone splitting trick yet.
That's okay.
I just generally just do my first and second expansion camera hotkey, and then I just try to focus on my overlords. And then I think you suggested putting
That's
my
a good second
second
overlord spot.
overlord here.
That's a good spot.
Yeah,
Because you wanna,
that
yeah.
was
And you can move it around as you go. First overlord spot, have it go towards the ramp instead of because
oh, okay.
you have it going towards just the natural, but definitely have it go toward that. Yeah, perfect. Yep,
Okay.
that's better.
Yeah, actually, I think I get slow because I'm not really good at picking overlord spots.
Nice. I like your. It's okay. I mean, it just takes time to learn it. I like your fast reaction to third. So take more drones while you do this now. You don't want to.
Okay.
You don't want to hit like 400 minerals while you're doing that. So if you get
Oh
blocked,
yeah,
you
yeah,
just
yeah.
want to make. You just now have to rotate into making drones again while that's happening. Also, that was clever how you took the natural anyways while his probe chased you. That was good. That was a good reaction to what just happened.
Thank you.
Take your pull. And then you can actually click your hatchery right now because you said you do camera hotkeys. The one that's being
Yeah.
built, and you can actually like so if you click it and then click the bottom right where it has like the portrait that moves,
Yeah, yeah.
you can actually extend the camera on it and make a camera hotkey on it.
Oh yeah, I already did that. I
Okay,
already
okay,
did that.
okay, cool. I just yeah, nice.
And then I think you said I can move my new overlord because now I'm not gonna get attacked
You
here.
can move it up to his base now because you know you're not getting cannon rushed. But I would say if you confirm it's a Stargate, you should get the fuck out of there with that second overlord.
Oh, got it, got it. Okay, okay.
So make drones for now. Do not make lings. Make drones and queens, and take your
Okay.
third base soon. Like probably on like 28 supply.
Oh, that's soon. Interesting.
Yeah.
Oops. And so
So
okay, so
he's got his core ready.
Mhm.
He just started a unit. You could tell off the gateway. So go
Should I
up.
make one link for that at least
No,
or no?
nope. Go into his main with your overlord. Honestly, I would say. It's huge because if you can see his tech a lot of times, this guy prioritized his tech over the Nexus, so you really want to see what it is. Look at the pylon. Look to the left. Maybe he already has it built,
Oh, I see.
and he doesn't. So it's okay. Take a third
All right,
base now,
moving.
and then go back down towards his. Okay, the stalker's coming to kill you. I think so. Now you don't need lings at all. If it's an adept, if nothing attacks you by like 250, you can make lings for the adept. But if something attacks you, you can skip lings and make drones. So you're actually paying for the overlord with drones right now, because you're gonna make more money faster.
Oh, because I skipped the links
Yeah.
and I was just making drones.
Yep.
Okay, that's
And make Zergling speed, and then oh you already have it. Okay, so
actually made it as soon as
yeah
yeah, go
that's
ahead.
good. It's good. Just get out of supply blocking because the Overlord died. It's okay. And then I would say throw down a Roach Warren. Here, like, probably now it would be fine. And now you should make some lings because now you have speed. So you should make probably like 12 to 14 lings at this point in time. And what you can do with this is you can defend yourself if the depths come at you. Otherwise, you can pressure him and scout him and maybe like check his third.
Okay. So the reason that
Sure.
the reason you're suggesting I'm making that many lings now is because, and actually here I feel like I should start using making more gas. Is that right? Because
That's
I'm
okay.
making my layer now.
Yeah, make drones too. That's okay. That's okay. Yeah. I'd say your droning is a little bit behind, but like because of the more gas you're taking, I didn't realize you were keeping on gas for as long as you were. But it's okay. Just keep doing it and just make drones like crazy right now. And the lings are actually supposed to just scout for you right now. Because if you
so I should use that many lings to scout?
yeah, all of them. Because you want to deny his third, and you want to poke his door just like you did. And you saw a depth sentry, which is nice info. Keep poking his door every like 30 seconds, and just get ready to make roaches if he doesn't expand. So I would say one last round of drones right now, and then scout him again. What's killing your... Okay, so it's a void, right? So now I would say make some more queens. Because he's showing you voids now. So keep making overlords and make drones. Keep spreading your creep too. That's huge.
Oh shit, creep.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think actually that's one of my biggest things is in the thick of things, there's a point in the game, probably around 4 minutes onwards, where I just don't know what to do.
It's okay.
And maybe it's because I don't have a rhythm, and so I end up having such a surplus of stuff.
Right now, what I would say you should do is you should make a Hydra. You should then start like 5 roaches, just in case he does an adept push to you right now, because it could happen. But only like 5 roaches.
Oh, only okay.
Yeah, and then scout him again. Okay, there's a third base, so good job. Try to get off the rest of your drones at all 3 of your bases. You're almost there already.
Try to max. You mean max out?
Yeah, like
on
66. Yeah, 66 runs.
Okay.
22 per base.
And by the way, okay, I'll talk to you later. Actually, upgrades is the other thing. I haven't done anything about that, but I guess
that happens after you start Hydras all the time. So that's not even something we should be doing yet. The only time you go upgrades early is when you're doing a really aggressive build. Okay, get Hydra upgrade. Good. And now start making Hydras once you're fully saturated on 3 bases. So saturation comes first as priority. You did 1 more drone and you're good. Now Hydras. Spread your creep too. Keep spreading that creep like as priority number 1.
And then I see, and one sec, I should not make, I have a lot of minerals, I should not even bother making a hatchery or anything right now.
You can throw down a 4th base, but Hydras need to be made as a priority, for sure. Because if he attacks you, you're riding the line super thin, and the longer you wait, the more you're going to die.
Yeah.
But I have a chance to die. Keep spreading the creep, though. Creep is going to like be the only thing that like saves you here, if you get attacked, because mobility and vision is huge.
I can already tell you this is probably the most creep I've made.
Yeah, you gotta spread, dude. I'm gonna remind you fucking a lot because you gotta do that shit a lot more than you are. Good job spreading creep in your main too. That's kind of what I wanted you to do as well. Keep making Hydras. Don't stop. Every fucking time you have larva.
I actually made.
It's if you make drones or something, it's okay. Or yeah, just make as many Hydras as you can. Go back check.
What about a Bane nest? No.
No. Check your Hydra upgrades, and you're probably ready for the next one. And now start your Evo chambers. 2 of them, for double. Like more upgrades of other things. And then get 2 more drones to replace. Good job, you just did. Keep injecting, keep spreading creep. And then take excess drones from any base that you might have overmade, like the gas at your 3rd and the mineral line at your natural, and send them to your 4th like you are right now. And now, now you can take a round of drones really fast at your 4th and get up to about 80 drones. Because if he attacks you, you should be okay.
Okay.
So when you make, if you make like 15 drones or something extra for that 4th base, just send them to the mineral line for now or whatever, make it easy. Make your 1/1 upgrades, and this time I want you to do melee and missile weapons. And the reason, well, to explain that later, do melee missile instead of don't do carapace. Just don't even get carapace right now.
Oh, melee. Okay. So I don't know which one was which.
There you go, melee missile AM. There you go. And then now get infestation pit and make Hydras after your drones. If you're 80 drones, go back to making Hydras right now and overlords. You're gonna supply block. So you're falling a little bit behind right now, and it's increasing the chances you
Yeah.
could die. Uh,
Oh, I see. Because my production is not keeping up with what he's probably doing.
yeah. Well, it's because you're being greedy, and you need to do this to beat Protoss if you're gonna play a macro
Okay.
game. And you're riding that line super thin again, and the longer you have money in the bank like that, if he pushes, you're gonna be behind what you should be. You
Oh,
have some
okay,
drones in
okay.
your army too. Just make sure you grab those. Make sure they're not idle. I think you have one more. Okay, and then now you can max out on Hydras and Lings. Hydra first, Ling second with excess money. And then go poke him. And now behind this, take a Hive and take a Lurker Den. Keep injecting. Good job.
And the
Go ahead, sorry.
no, it's fine.
Okay.
I like what you do, which is that you actually click on you move to the hatchery
I
and you
see you're
tell
doing
each
spacebar. So yeah.
queen. I don't like that because they walk around
I
the
don't
whole
like it
bloody
either.
map, but I
I
kind of freak out
I
when
can
I'm in the
teach you. I
middle.
can teach you about how to do it later if you want. But yeah, it definitely is cleaner macro than fucking spamming spacebar a lot. So inject again. You're not engaging yet. Just don't. Okay. Back up from this. Do not
Eject
fight
what?
that.
Sorry.
Do not. Just first priority. Back up. Now
Okay.
inject. I was to say, don't stop injecting while you're doing this. Like, make sure that the injects are still rolling all the time. Is that you need to make sure you're not going to be wasting your larva.
Okay.
Now I want you to start upgrades again. This time you can start melee level 2 and missile level 2.
Okay.
And then I want you to throw away all of your roaches. And then throw away all of your lings. Like, throw them at a base that's going to maybe do some damage. And with all these units that die, I want you to remake all lurkers. And get away from his army with your hydras. Do not, like, go back to your base. Get on creep and get out of there. And then also make like one spore, one spine at every base, and take another base to give you more open supply again. And then make like 8 hydras right now, or sorry, like 8 lurkers or 10 lurkers. Just make a lot of lurkers. Because he's got Colossus, you really need it. And then yeah, get the upgrade too as soon as you can. Doesn't matter which one you start first, you're gonna get both. And make a spore spine prematurely for your next expansion at your 4th on the creep. Also, is that hatchery correct?
No.
Yeah, I gotta.
One of them I made was wrong.
Yeah.
This one.
And then top right base, make a spore spine. And then now you just made a lot of lurkers. Now I want you to remake like 10 drones and make them all go to the brand new 4th base and get your army ready to defend. And really quickly, as you're running up there, make an adrenal gland upgrade and make the next lurker upgrade right before the fight starts. So next lurker upgrade north of your hatchery in the main.
Sorry, where's my
There
freaking
you go.
thing?
And
Okay,
now fight with your army. Zone them with lurkers first.
Okay.
And then burrow and then guard your lurkers. So that's how you would want to do this. Okay. And now back up your hydras. Make sure all your lurkers burrow. Have your hydras behind the lurker.
Oh shit, they're all. I don't know what the hell they're doing. Okay.
It's okay. And now get a round of. Okay, you already made units. As I say, this would be a good time to make lings and counter him, because you're holding the line essentially right now, and you can't really do anything. But if you have any open supply again, make lings and go counter him. That's the whole point of why your lings are so good.
Okay.
Don't like get back a little bit behind your lurkers just a tad, like bait them a little bit more than you are. Okay, now try to fight off of them. All right, this is getting a little dicey. Back up a little bit more again. If your hydras die so fast, you're not gonna be able to guard the lurkers because your hydras are gonna do way too much damage.
Do I have a vision problem here or no?
So.
Probably not my biggest problem, to be
We'll talk about it in a second. Just now at this point, I mean, all your hydras are dead, so you got to remake hydras now.
Okay.
So try to.
Wait, I don't even know how I have all my shit hotkeyed here.
Yeah, I was gonna say try to guard the hatchery as much as you can, or try to like remake an army and guard yourself as much as you can. Like defend this if possible. Pull the boys if you have, honestly, just to take some soaking hits from the Colossus. But when you fight this, focus fire the Colossus as fast as you can, and then try to like
focus fire the Colossus. Okay.
Yeah, with your, because you have no choice now. Like he's gonna kill you.
Yeah.
All right, so when you engage this, focus fire burrow lurkers in front of him, and try to focus the Colossus down first, with your hydras as well. Get in there and kill that Colossus. There's 2 of them just mowing you down.
Oh, okay, okay. Yeah, I was actually just realized I was not focus firing.
Yeah, yeah, it's okay. So, okay, you're dead now. So let's talk about this game really fast. And what I want you to
Yeah.
do is just leave the game and then send me the replay that you just made on Discord,
Okay.
and then I will screen share to you, and I will I'll give you like you're overall in a decent spot, honestly. Like a lot of your macro stuff in the setup was pretty good. Let's talk about your fight though, your setup of how that fight went, and give you an idea of as to what I more or less mean with how that went.
Okay.
Because I mean,
Yes,
yeah,
sure.
the biggest problem for you was too many Hydras ate too much damage, and then it made your lurkers compromise, and then you died. All right, so
Okay.
I will screen share this thing, and you can check out what I'm doing from my perspective. But overall, pretty good job,
Cool.
honestly. That was a good game for you. For Diamond League, that's definitely a lot of potential there.
Hey, thank you. I really appreciate that. Was already like there was a lot of things honestly I did much better than I normally wouldn't have done anyway.
Nice.
So just you there was very helpful, but also but yeah, thank you. There were a few things that I learned as we were going along anyway.
Yeah, that's cool.
So
I mean, like you were saying, the creep thing was you're like, I don't normally start creep this much. Oh my god, I mean, that's definitely something you gotta definitely have to do a lot. Because with Zerg, as you grow, this is just a concept of Zerg. As you grow as a Zerg player and you get higher in like masters and go towards GM, you start to realize that as a Zerg player, you have to play so hyper reactive to everything, and if you're not going to all in somebody as a reaction, you need to play like that line so fucking thin to be so greedy enough to not die, but also not waste any time doing. You need to like capitalize every second you can, getting to the point you want to be at, which is like optimal army creation because your economy's banging.
and the reason for that is because Protoss units are more cost effective or like they're stronger. Is that
It's well, I mean, Terran unit. You can say the same thing about Terran units too, but the thing about Zerg is the way Zerg works is Zerg's advantage is that they have the ability to overwhelm, and the reason why they have the ability to overwhelm is because they have a better economy development. But once Protoss
okay?
and Terran get to the point where they match you, they become more effective than you unless you're using very technical units like Lurker Viper or something like that, which is an army that can stay. That's why I was telling you to make Lurkers at the end there, because it's the only way you're going to beat that army if you have some type of like fortification in your army. Now, I feel like I made a mistake with how you played it, and I'll tell you in a second, but it's playstyle. So I know there was like I'll say this. I'm really happy that you remaxed super fast, and I was not even able to tell you, okay, make lings, and then you were already maxed again, and I was like, oh shit, okay, like you fucking already maxed before I even said that.
Okay.
But the way the playstyle worked that I was gonna say to you was the Protoss was going very heavy robo throughout the mid game, like with a lot of gateway. Like he had like one void, lots of robo stuff, and then lots of gateway stuff. That's why I said go melee and missile weapons. But the way that worked and the way you played it would have made more sense if I would have told you to go for Carapace and missile weapons, because you did no counterattack and you did all defense. And that would have made more sense to have Carapace versus his carrier and his Void Ray while he's and his Colossus while he's attacking you and sieging you. You would have had a better chance to defend that if you just purely defended it, because you're not even really using lings there. But the
Sorry,
go ahead.
Vibe, can you just repeat that last part? And also, I can't tell the I'm getting like a message sound. Is that on my end or
Yeah,
is that
that
on
should be
your end?
that should be on your end. That's so all you got to do to fix that is if you're on any Discord server, just right click it and say mute until I turn it back on. Because if you don't do that, it'll be like boop, 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 like every time someone types any message in chat.
Oh, jeez. Okay, okay. All right.
But
Thanks. Sorry about
no
that.
worries, you're all good, dude.
Yeah, so can you just repeat that
Yeah,
point you were
sure.
making at the end? Yeah.
So Carapace makes more sense for setting up a solid 100% defensive play, and Melee makes more sense for counterattack reactive play. And what I was wanting you to do, because he was going so robo-heavy earlier on, was if he attacks you, there's a good chance you're going to have to use a lot of Hydras and a lot of Lings versus things like Stalkers, Zealots, Immortals. He never attacked you, though. He just sat there off of Robo and went Sky Toss, which is a thing that can happen. And if that happens and you're committed to going Melee, you need to counterattack while staging a defense. And you need to be as passive about your defense as possible and not rush it, which is why you died. because you had no carapace,
Okay.
and then you're ramming the Hydras in his face, and your Hydras died so fast. Uh,
Got it. Okay.
yeah. So if you had carapace there, I should have with the way that was played, it would have been better to have carapace because then it would have given your Hydras and your lurkers more staying power in the fight, especially versus his carriers, because like.
Okay, I
Go
see.
ahead. Sorry, if you're gonna say something.
No, that makes sense. Although, in the process of trying to micro my lurkers, I accidentally kept right-clicking my Hydras
Yeah. No. It's.
for a
I
while.
think it's because
They
you had
kind
a.
of were going in a
I
mess.
think you had a lot of them still in the control group for some reason, and like it was like some of them burrowed that were like off on their own thing, and then a lot of them, when you told the Hydras to move command, they went back with the Hydras and walked back because they're all
Yeah,
together.
actually, I didn't separate those into two different control groups.
Yeah.
I probably should
I,
have done
I
that.
feel like what I do, the easiest way of what I do is when I go into that stage, like I told you, to make a bunch of lurkers, I'll just control click the lurker egg, and then I'll just hit like Alt 2 or like Alt 3,
Oh,
whatever
okay.
you want to do. That way it just deletes it and it makes its own group with it. Uh,
Yeah, I maybe should have done that.
but the way you would have wanted it to have gone was when I was telling you to sack your lings and your roaches early on to make lurkers because you're already maxed. That was a good idea because he was super defensive with Colossus, and you do not want to fight Colossus with pure Hydra. That's gonna be a bad day for you. So then you backed off, you made lurker, and then I also told you to make spines and spores, which is gonna help you if the guy goes for like counterattack pressure in the mineral line, which will just be annoying for you to deal with, especially if it's like DTs or something like that. That could cause a massive problem for you, and it's such an easy solution to fix if you pre-make static D. So that also opens up your supply a little bit. And then with that supply that opened up, you made a few more lurker, and then you've remade a bunch of drones back into the new base that you were setting up, which was perfect. And then when the fight started, you started losing some army, which is bound to happen. I'm not saying that's not acceptable. It's definitely going to happen that you're going to lose some supply. But with the supply that was lost, you want to basically try to extend the fight as long as possible by guarding your lurkers and not extending your Hydras. So whenever he engages, a Void Ray can engage on a lurker and a Hydra can shoot it off. Whenever a carrier engages a lurker, a Hydra can shoot off the interceptor and kill it. Whenever a Colossus engages a lurker, you do not want to overstep the lurker and then run into the Colossus. Because if you do that, then your Hydras start dying. So you want to, basically the way it works is imagine if the lurkers are like a line in the sand, and then your Hydras are behind that line, and you only will ever run up to that line to shoot and then back off. You'll never step over it, because if you step over it, you're gonna die. The only time, the only time you ever step over that line is if you know he's running away and he's dead, and then you want to capitalize as much damage as you can as he runs away.
And is it so? It's acceptable. Okay, so I freak out when I see carriers.
Sure.
And then just yesterday, I saw you letting the Hydras kill the interceptors, not focus firing the carriers.
Yep.
Is that the right thing to do?
100%. So especially when the carrier army, there's two kinds of carrier armies. There's a hybrid and there's a pure, and like a full-on carrier army. So the full-on carrier army is like his army looks like he's got 5 Templar and 20 carrier. Like it's just like mass carrier. And those kind of armies, you probably need some infestors or something like that. Or maybe a Viper, something that can like help you to be like, maybe we'll throw down a microbial shroud or something like that, because it's so much damage out of the carrier. And you could even fungal the interceptors if it's like pure carrier. But that kind of an army right there was, it was like 4 Colossus, it was like 7 Void Ray, like 5 carriers. It was just very hybridy. It was all over the place. So the amount of interceptor output he has is very low. And you could easily kill the interceptors off of the lurker before the lurker died to the interceptors. Because the lurker is like actually surprisingly tanky. And if you, that's also why I was saying if that it would have made it easier for you if you didn't do link counterattacks to have Carapace there, because it makes them even tankier at that point against the carrier.
Sure. And the interceptors are focus firing the lurkers while the Hydras are killing the interceptors.
So every Protoss is going to do this. They're going to A move and they're going to walk to you. I'm not talking shit about Protosses out there. I'm not being like, oh, they just A move, but
I guess the interceptors that are are prioritizing the lurkers.
They're going to attack the lurkers first because they're closer. It's a hostile unit, and when the interceptors start coming out of the carrier, they don't all come out at once. They come out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Okay.
And as they're coming out, if you have like 30 Hydras behind the lurker, insta kill, insta kill, insta kill, insta kill on all the interceptors, and they literally shoot once and die, once and die, once and die. And then if you actually take out a lot of the DPS of the carrier, because the interceptors are dead, every interceptor that dies has to be rebuilt for 11 seconds at a time. So it takes a carrier forever, almost like a minute and a half basically, to rebuild all interceptors that die. and they're never gonna like that's never gonna happen during a fight, and that's when you get a moment where if you deplete all the interceptors, then you upper the lurker, run forward towards the Colossus, and you can because lurkers actually run faster than Colossus, burrow on top of them as he runs away, knock out his ground army with your lurker, and then that's when you're also chasing with Hydras and stutter stepping and trying to kill the rest of whatever's there if he doesn't recall.
Okay, so I just realized, I think, because I'm looking at the graphs for this game, and
Sure.
I realized that this graph, even though I actually did perform better with you talking to me throughout, this was a pretty common graph I've seen where my workers active, army value, and upgrade spending are all better than the opponent,
Sure.
and then I lose. So I guess if I'm understanding correctly, it seems like it's coming down to the engagement. Would that be right, or?
It's partially that. There's also, I'll say this too. Do you remember how there was a moment in time before you maxed out where I was saying you're riding that line really thin and you have like 2,000 minerals in the bank? Like, then also like
Yes.
1,200 gas? That could also be
Right.
a faster timing for you to attack him, and you could have potentially attacked him before he had Colossus.
Oh, had I had more units,
If
if I
you're
had spent it
basically,
properly?
yeah, the point of the build-up is you want to squeeze out drones ASAP and then units as fast as you can too with good creep. That way, if he does attack you, you can have a good chance to defend. But the second you max, you go. And you poke him now. And that's with Hydraling. And that's how you can change the course of the game potentially by maybe taking a fight that is advantageous for you. If, for instance, AoE doesn't exist yet. Or if, like, he's taking a fourth base that's really greedy and you just snipe it and you just kill it. Something like that.
Okay. Okay. Wow, that was a lot to process, but I
For
feel
sure.
like but even, I mean, as we'll go through it, it'll keep getting reinforced, so very helpful.
100%, yeah.
So maybe, I guess maybe taking it from the beginning. So, because one of the issues I do have is with scouting as well.
Sure.
So it seems like and I really like how you helped me point the Overlord into some better directions. I never even thought about that. That hey, instead of trying to use lings, just sack the Overlord. The cost is so much more beneficial that way.
Yeah.
To poke around and then and willing to let it die. So we see that he had, I guess, so early on we kind of got this idea from the Void Ray that he's going air, and that's where you knew that let's just start going Hydras long term.
Yeah. So
Is that what you knew?
I mean, Hydra's is overall a really solid defensive play composition. Like just a way you can respond to Protoss. It's pretty it's good versus ground and air, especially if you mix in lurkers with it. But here, let me run you through some science here, okay? This is some super in-depth look at his base, all right? So as you go to his base, your Overlord's flying in, and you go, okay, there's a gate, and you see a core that is just now finishing, right? And this core is finishing way before the Nexus. So this is a humongous sign of saying this Protoss's build order was gate, pylon, gate, core, Nexus. Like, or like, okay, actually that's not entirely accurate. It doesn't have to be exactly that, but he made the Nexus and the core like about the same time essentially, because the Nexus's build time is a lot longer than the core, and this is just a really fast core. It's not.
Yeah.
It's. I would say. I guess you could. The best way to say this is it's pretty
Like
normal.
he wasn't going Nexus way first, for
Yeah.
example.
It,
right?
like.
Is that
Yeah.
the point?
Yeah. Yeah. It looks like a normal-ish build, but the thing now to look at here is, I would say if I was playing this game, what I would do is I would have actually turned the Overlord a little bit more to the left, just for like maybe just a tad. And the only reason why I would say that is because you want to see when the core is done, just for a quick second, if the core actually starts an upgrade or not. But it's also kind of indicative to know this if he makes a unit out of the gateway or not. So as your Overlord flew up, you saw nothing happening. That was a sign right there where I was like, is this guy just like saving money for a tech building, or is he just kind of like lazy about making the gateway unit? So as your Overlord flew up, you were like, okay, core's done. Nothing, 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 nothing. And then finally it turns on, and you can see when it turns on because of the crystal out, like just sparkling and shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
And now we can see a unit being made. Now, you can already tell 100% from this point right now, from like 215-ish, if he makes a unit out of that gateway, if it is not chrono boosted, it will be done at 245, 30 seconds later. If it is chrono boosted, it'll be done at, if it is chrono boosted, it'll be done at 235. If it is not, 245. Because if it is chrono boosted, it's a 20-second build time. And if it isn't
Hmm.
chrono boosted, it is a 30-second build time. Now, as you're
Had it been a, sorry,
go ahead.
if then that is if he was making a stalker or if he was making a zealot.
A stock, like, so he's always gonna make either a stalker or an adept here. The only time he would ever make a zealot is if he saw the gateway doing something before the core was even done.
Oh, okay, right, right.
So
Makes sense.
this and a stalker and a zealot, sorry, a stalker and an adept have the exact same build time. So that matters for both of them the exact same way.
And sorry, the reason you were telling me about 20 seconds versus 30 seconds, why do I care about that?
It's chrono boost or no chrono boost. So
Oh, okay,
because it
sure.
just speeds up the unit, and that the amount of time it takes for a stalker or an adept to make with chrono on is exactly 20, and then it's exactly 30 without. And now as your Overlord leaves, you haven't seen a chrono yet, and no chrono. So
Yeah.
you can assume that this dude is either lazy about his mechanics, or, but I mean, that does happen sometimes in Diamond, but you shouldn't ever really assume that as you grow as a player. You should think that everything your opponent does is for a purpose. Right. So I would say one of the big things you should look at now is Nexus Energy, and this could tell you if he has none, he's going probe crazy, and if he has a lot, he's waiting for tech.
Got it.
So it's
I see. So
yeah.
we've seen his front. We've seen his natural. You're saying next step is let's head over to the main, and let's assess what he's doing with his energy.
Yeah, and that's number one is energy on Nexus, and number two is does he already have tech in his base? Because that stalker was also delayed a little bit, so it was a awkward thing, like that. It was somewhat delayed for him to be doing that. And you actually came back, and you saw gateway number 2, and you also saw a still non-chronoed gateway. So this is definitely going to be 245. Now, what that tells you is if you know for a fact the timer of when the unit out of the gateway is supposed to spawn, you don't have to make lings once you see the adept. The way you can predict what's going to happen is if you know this stalker is going to now pop out of the gateway at 245, think about how long it takes for a stalker to walk from right here to like right there. Maybe like 5 seconds, right? Maybe like not very long, 4 or 5 seconds. So if you get to a point where you're at like 252, which is now like 7 seconds, which is plenty of time for that stalker to have made it to your Overlord, and he's still not shooting you by 252, that means the adept would probably be right there. And if you just make lings,
wow.
you can then be like, oh, sorry, by the time you get to my base, I'll have lings popping out of my eggs. So that's a huge way to save you lots of money in the early game against Protoss.
Wow. That's really cool.
And it'll happen.
Thank you.
Yeah, it'll happen every single game if they play Nexus, Gate Nexus like this, where you'll see the core finishing, and you'll be able to predict when the adept pops out, or the stalker. And then when you get in here, the second you see a pylon, this is like this is the only pylon he has in his base that is not this pylon. The reason why is because right now the Protoss is working off of very limited amount of money, just like you are, and he's gonna have made, just like you are, the same amount of like supply essentially, and there's no way there's gonna be like a pylon here and like a pylon like over here or something, because if there was, he would just have no tech. Like it would just be too much money going out that he couldn't afford. So the second you see that, skirting to the left here to check the pylon, because there could be like a Stargate right there, or instead of just going up here, you know what I mean? So this is huge, and now you see no tech. So what this tells you now, this is huge. This is when, all the time when BetaGM, when I say efficiency versus inefficiency, you can now tell he's inefficient. And the reason why is because he delayed his stalker for a tiny bit, and he did nothing with it. There was zero purpose. It was delayed because there was no trade-off. There was no like tech rush that he chose to delay for, which means that when he made that gateway in the core, that gateway could have made that stalker. He just didn't for like 4 seconds or 5 seconds. So that helps you even more to squeeze out even more drones. And now you're even further ahead than you should be by just a smidge, not a lot, just a little bit though. And now the Overlord could totally go wherever the fuck you want it to go. It could go up, it could go down, it could do anything. And if he makes a stalker, it's going to die. But now this is, as we said before, around like 250-ish. Like, depending on like movement of, because 245 is when it's going to spawn. And if we go to 245, you can see it spawns, because it's 30 seconds. So now, you now know we have a few seconds, and no Protoss is ever going to make a stalker and then just sit there, right? They're going to be like, Overlord's in my base, go kill that thing, because they want you out of there. That's why they make the stalker. Otherwise, they're just going to make an adept to attack you. So now,
well, actually, that reminds me. Oh, go ahead.
you go. It's okay.
No, I was gonna. My next question was gonna be on first 3 Overlord placements in the game. Those 3, I kind of am like making up as I go along, or if I'm used to the map, I kind of know. But what do you recommend for those first 3 Overlords in the game?
So Overlord 3 is It depends what you do with Overlord 2, but Overlord 3 is pretty simple. It's just basically Overlord 3 just goes like right here. The reason why Overlord 3 goes right here is the concept of Overlord 3 is going to be you want it to always be in front of your creep tumor so that if an adept is coming right there and you just slammed a creep tumor down before it, you're not going to just have the creep tumor way off by itself and you're going to be like crossing your fingers, hopefully it doesn't die. You're going to be like, oh, an adept's on its way to my creep right now and I just put a creep tumor down. Let's put my queen in front of the creep tumor and my lings, if I have them already, in front of the creep tumor. That way I can hopefully push him away before he just walks at the creep tumor. Like,
I see.
because a lot of Protoss players will get poked by a queen and back up. That's the way they will respond to a queen. They will not walk at it and auto attack it because a queen will beat the shit out of an adept 1v1. But if they see a creep tumor first and that's it, they will 100% kill that and not back up. So you want to show him your queen first and not your creep first. So Overlord 3 covers the creep. It makes it easier to spread creep. Overlord,
I see.
Overlord 2 will always stay around the natural until the natural is almost done. That way you're not going to get cannon rushed by surprise. And then when the natural's almost done, you can then send Overlord 2 up to the other side of the base, like the side of the main or something like that, and that's totally fine. Overlord number 1 should be going into the guy's base for Protoss and checking his tech like this and getting a read on everything we just talked about. And this is a great read right now. This is super good because you have confirmed not only is he going Stalker, but his tech is also, and not only was the Stalker delayed, not only does he also have, he's got a decent amount of chrono in the bank here that he could have used on the Stalker, which means he's once again playing inefficient. Because the thing is if he was actually, now let me explain something really fast here, okay? So we didn't talk about this. Let's talk about the chrono energy for a second. Imagine if you were in his main base and there was no pylon. So this was pylon 1 and pylon 2 was missing. And you're like, wait, what?
Right.
And now imagine if the chrono energy on the Nexus was instead of at 83, it was at 123. I'd be like, bro, you better check like over here right now.
Oh, he's proxying
or
something,
over
probably.
here. Exactly. You're getting proxy stargated, most likely.
So actually so normally against Protoss, I like to make 2 lings to run around the map. But in Geisei, what you're saying is it's just better to be greedy, and only at this point, if we detect something is off, should be
100%. Yep. That would make sense if the build looks like that. But if you just assume everyone does that, it's going to only happen like maybe 10% of the time.
Right.
And the other 90% is you just kind of throwing your money away in the start of the game, which you don't need to do, because that could be a drone mining the whole time. So this confirms there's no proxy.
So Overlord 1 is really meant to be the scout, and if it dies or not, fine. Overlord 2 is what we're eventually sending to the side of their base on the top area, and Overlord 3 is still hovering around. So we don't really need an Overlord early on, like sitting below the natural.
You don't, because you have lings to do that. That's why your lings are coming in the next like 40 seconds from now, and this is such a minimum amount of time for him to do anything. Like nothing drastic is going to happen in the next 40 seconds because he went Nexus early. So he's already confirming that he's setting up a macro game, at least for the first like 4 minutes of the game. And your lings will be out on the map with speed by about 3:30 because you're doing a speed ling style. So if you check his door, run away. 30 seconds later, check his door, run away. You'll get a read on composition behind the doorway, and you'll really get an understanding of what he's going for as well. It'll help a lot. And the thinner the army, the more tech heavy he's going. The heavier the army, the more obviously he's probably going council, and he's using those units.
And actually, that reminds me. So at what time did you decide and why that I should make 14 lings?
It was because your speed's finishing, and the reason why you make the lings, like 14 is a great solid amount to have, because 14 lings can destroy 2 adepts, and if he wants to take a third really greedy, he's gonna have 2 adepts over at his third, and you can deny it.
Oh, okay, and that was pretty much create them after or as ling speed finishes.
You're creating them just before ling speed's finished, and then the idea is you're starting to walk as you're like starting to leave your base, anywhere between like here and like here, your ling speed's kicking on. So like as you're leaving your base, it's a upgrade complete, and you just get over there and you check expansion. You check expansion as priority number 1, and then if you see nothing, that's great. That means he's 2-basing you. That's fine. And then you check his door. Check his door. Check his door. And it alleviates the process of having to feel like you have to have an Overlord sitting right there the entire time, because it sacked itself. But this is so much more value for you to know what's going on instead of making lings like 6 of them or something really early, just assuming he's doing the same thing that everyone does, because every Protoss could potentially play different from each other. This just gives you a more solid understanding of what's happening in this game. And then
Cool.
if you do see like a probe coming out, 14 lings is very easy and repetitive to kill a probe. Because I don't know if you've ever seen me do this or a Zerg player do this in general, but there will be times when you could genuinely kill a Protoss's probe like 4 times in a row with those lings. And then
Okay,
you're just
yeah,
like, no
yeah, yeah.
third for you, no third for you.
Okay.
But yeah, not making lings now, because if you think about it too, it takes a drone 1 mineral per second for its mining time, and if you normally would have been like, well, every time my pool finishes, which if you think about it, let's just subtract your link speed. That's 30 seconds ago. If you would have made 4 lings, let's say you made 4 lings, okay? Like it's like say you play like you would against Terran, where that's normal because of the Reaper. But now against Protoss, let's say you do the same build, and you're like, well, I always make 4 lings and the pool's done with my queens. That's 60 minerals you would have missed out on. Because it's well, more or less. See, I guess you could also add in the build time of the unit, but in
Sure.
general,
Oh, sure.
yeah, in general,
Opportunity cost.
yeah, in general, that's still adding up to that's like more than half the Overlord, even if you subtract the 12-second build time of the drone. That's you know, that's a shitload of time that's just going up, and you're also adding it by like 2 minerals per second, because it would have been 2 drones that are not mining the entire time. So by the time the Overlord dies, now Overlord just died, and now your upgrade is at 46. So this pretty much pays for itself if you made drones, like it, and then it just makes it really easy to recover from that loss. And now you have a full read. It's an absolute read on his build to know exactly what's happening, which is a delayed tech.
Okay.
And it only.
So I think.
Or go ahead. Sorry.
No. Sure. No, I feel like I'm probably, at least for this round, I'm probably saturated on this. I feel like to reinforce this, we'll probably have to go through it live again.
Sure.
But no, but that's fine. That's fine. Go ahead. What you're saying. I
Okay.
think this part is starting to make sense. I think I'm wondering if we need to talk about that last engagement or not.
Oh,
I think I
we'll get
understand
there
the
for
lining.
sure. But the big thing too is the Overlord here that died again. It gave you a nice read, which is tech is delayed, and you got to see a full read of like Stalker opener, a whole build kind of situation. He's not stalking a bunch of chrono. So much info here for you to feel confident to drone now, and then.
Oh, okay.
And then now, so you're not, again, you're just skipping lings altogether. You're not even making any adept defensive lings at all. You're just like, no, I'm not going to make them until I can be aggressive with them. No defense at all here for me. So you're actually cutting a corner to give you an advantage. And then it turns into, you know, once a tech does come out, because it's so delayed, it's not going to be threatening, because by then you'll have creep and queens, ideally, out to defend it. And yeah, that's, you know. So the way it should go too would be, if we look at your natural really fast and you look at your main for speed, what I would suggest you do in the future would be, as soon as your speed's done, or as soon as it starts rather, take 2 drones off of gas instead of just 1. Because your layer of this game, I'm not going to lie, was very early. And it was kind of stretching, like your creep spread could be even better if you have more queens faster. So the trade-off was you teched faster rather than making more queens. And I would rather you make more queens, because it'll make it easier as well to deal with people who go Stargate for you. And it'll also make it easier to have defense against everything else in the game if your creep is like out here as opposed to like back here.
Are you taking, so are you leaving only 1 drone on gas for both Protoss and Terran, and like 2 for Zerg, or is it always just 1?
You can do that against, so Zerg would be 2. Protoss and Terran could be 1. The reason why Zerg would be 2 is because, like, against Protoss and against Terran, your usual tech path avenue would be layer as a priority, and then you get something else, like a Baneling nest if you want to go Banelings. But against Zerg, you actually go Bane first before layer, because if you don't, you'll just die to like a Ling Flood or a Baneling all-in or something like that. It's very likely that could happen. So Baneling nest is priority, which is why you leave 2 on gas, because then you actually need to use that gas faster. But if you leave 1 on gas, the proper time to resaturate your gas is when your natural mineral line is fully saturated. Then, as you're starting to saturate the 3rd base, for the 2 of the first drones that are going to be part of that, go back to the gas. So you go back to 3 out of 3 when you're 16 plus 16 on these 2 bases.
Oh, I see. And the layer has generally started by then.
You'll pretty much have 100 about 100 gas in the bank to make a layer with, right as you're filling up the gas again with your drones. It's generally how the math would work on that, if there's no complications where like 2 adepts are causing chaos in your base. And then that's how you're gonna set up your layer, and then it'll give you a nicely timed layer where before the layer you'll have like 4 queens instead of just 2. So this
Like I'm gonna end up, I can already see I'm gonna end up rewatching this video like
sure,
100
no,
times
for
over
sure,
the next
yeah,
few days.
because what should be happening right now
Cool.
is you should definitely be
Yeah.
making a queen right now, instead of doing nothing with this hatchery. And you can see also your third base was a little bit delayed. Then it's gonna only be harder to afford it properly when you're mining gas heavier like this. Because
Oh,
it's
right.
your mineral line is actually so thin right now. Every drone counts so much right now.
Okay.
So if your third base is a little bit quicker and your queen's a little bit faster, what you'd want to do is the proper way to do this is you go, and you also double injected, which is really, I would say, avoid that for the future. The way it should go is you go first queen on the natural creep tumor, first queen in the main,
Oh, okay.
inject. That way you can cover the third way easier,
Uh,
and then your first queen that drops a creep tumor will have, let's say you put it right there. By the time your next creep tumor is ready to go, your creep will be like that big. And then you could go second creep tumor that spreads from the first one right there. And then your first queen that dropped a creep tumor could drop another creep tumor right there. So you have creep going this way and
Got
creep
it.
going that way. And then after that queen's done dropping 2 tumors, it walks to the third, because the third at that point will
Okay.
be about 70% of the way done ish. And then you can have the queen generate enough energy as the hatchery finishes, and then you'll instantly inject the hatchery right as it's done, so you don't miss any injects on the third.
And by then that third queen is gonna finish on this hatchery,
And
which
yeah,
will be used for injects.
yep. And so you're only gonna miss 1 inject in the hatchery, because as you throw a tumor down and you have another queen already pumping immediately, the time it comes around for the inject number 2, this queen spawns and you inject as well. So
Oh, man,
you're expediting
my mind's
creep like
blown.
crazy. Yeah, you're getting ridiculous creep spread, and then you're getting still really good injects, and then you can actually start when queen number 3 is done on this hatchery. You can very soon after start queen number 4, and what queen number 4 does is queen number 4 will be timing up around the same time as your third is almost done, and queen 4 can just walk across the creep highway you've created, and drop a tumor right here for your fourth, or for your fourth tumor or whatever, or you know. And then it would just, this queen could have creep going this way. So you have creep going this way, you have creep going this way now, and you have creep going this way. And then you just have 3 queens injecting at that point, because you have 4 queens at that point. 3 injecting, 1 spreading. And every time you could be like, okay, well, I have a creep tumor now going that way. So now I can make 1 more going this way. And now I have a creep tumor going this way. So I can make another one go either this way to connect, or this way to go up this ramp right there. And then, you know, this one could be like, okay, I can make another creep tumor now to go this way, while one goes this way. Just fill in the gaps everywhere, and by like 7 minutes you'll have creep that literally looks like this right here. It'll literally be like that much creep spread by like 7 minutes. It'll be insane for you. It'll be everywhere is covered, and not only does it make it really easy to deal with not only does it make it really easy to deal with ground attacks, because you have mobility and you can see it coming. You'll be like, oh, he's got a push coming right there. I can see it because my creep tumor is right there. But you can also, if you get to a point where you actually have a creep tumor quickly, like down here, or you have a creep tumor quickly, like over here, you could be like, oh, look, he's got 5 void rays flying right there. And now my queens are currently right there that I have. I can rotate back up and defend my base before it gets sniped. Or same thing with the main base. If you see like 5 void rays flying down here, because you have a creep tumor right here, you could be like, cool, I can get back to the main and defend it before he just lasers it down. Creep makes it so easy to play greedy. It's so important.
Ooh, wow, thank you. That really helps. That completely changes the foundation for how I began with creep. So I can already see that that'll make a huge difference.
Oh, it's huge. Yeah, it just makes it also, if this is a real thing too. A lot of times if someone is going to push you and they're starting to be like, oh, okay, there's creep like halfway across the map, like right here. They will be 99% of the time a bit more timid about it, and they'll actually work on killing your creep before killing your base. It buys you time to not be attacked. So even if you fuck up your macro at all, or you're not like in the right spot at the right time, it gives you way more prep time because your creep is amazing. So it just decreases your chances of dying in indirect ways as well, because it makes your opponent play more timid and more passive.
Cool.
All right, so we can boost it forward a bit now, because the mid game is kind of just was standard as hell this game. It was a build sequence, and I think you did it. That was the best part of the game you had, up until the point when you got to like 160 supply, when you had like 2K in the bank. Like I think your 4th base is when you started falling apart a little bit. With the macro, but other than, because I think it was when your inject started like kind of maybe dipping a little bit, or something
Yeah.
like that. But overall, pretty good on the macro side of things. But we'll talk about your engagement one more time really fast for the end part here. Okay, so your supply is cranking. This is how it should look. This is how you should feel. And now you can see your money's starting, like this is when the 4th base starts, right? And your money starts really piling up here.
Yeah.
If you had spent all this money, you think about how much supply 2,000 minerals of hydras are. That's 10 supply per 1,000 for minerals. So that's or no, sorry, that's 10 hydras, which is 20 supply per 1,000. So that's 40 supply because you get one hydra's 2 supply. So that's 40 supply right there. You could already be at like 190 supply right now. If you were, you know, maybe more like 182 because you also have to add some overlords in there. So maybe like 4 overlords plus like 16 hydras. But in general, you could be a lot higher than you are. That's the point that you just really want to make sure you know. And you could be maxing out by probably like 830, 840, realistically, which is right about now at this point in the game. For most of your games that go in the future like this. And if you were maxed right now, you could poke him and discover what's going on a bit faster for like his whole generic composition that he's going for. Yeah. Which, I mean, you had an idea already, but it's totally fine. Like your scouting overall this game was okay. It was not bad.
I think you had that idea. I had no idea.
No, for sure. I mean, like it's just making sure you're getting.
You told me to go ahead.
Making sure you're getting confirmations, right? But imagine if you would have saw his 4th base. And imagine if your creep is already like almost touching it as well. And the beautiful thing about creep is it should be like this close to his base in every direction at this point. Like your creep in the middle should be like right there, which would be like right there. Your creep on this side, well, now to be fair, the bottom left is like really far away on everything because you've also prioritized the top, which I think is. So also there's another thing too to say. There is going to be a little bit of creep priority in a game. Okay, this is actually a concept of creep that you should understand. Creep priority means your whatever creep queen you have is going to always put creep timers at an initial area to spread more around one side of the map over the other. Even though you're doing both sides, one of them is going to be a bit more thick than the other. One's going to be a little more thin on the creep spread. So you want to make the thicker creep spread on the side you're going to expand towards. So you should actually plan your creep according to expansion locations. So this is correct, how you have more creep on the... You have a nice blob of creep on the bottom, which I think is good. But you should definitely have more going out, for sure. But yeah, you're not close to touching the bottom of the map, is the point I'm trying to make here.
Right.
And that's correct, because you didn't expand here. You should, if you did expand here, I would want your creep to be this close to the wall of the map on this side, and you'd have more cover for this base, if that was your plan. But you actually took the top base, and I think the way you've taken the creep on the top so aggressively is actually good for that. It makes sense, because you're actually defending your bases properly. And then you'd obviously want to have going this way too, and blah, blah, blah. But I like the creep is closer to the edge of the map on the side you're expanding towards. And that's how you should always think about it forever. But but if you have creep going you know, everywhere, like I said, it just gives you more mobility to get on his base. And if you scouted this, so if you know you're going to take, like there's a plan of attack here, you could have either an Overseer with a Changeling, or you could have like a Zergling around this time, around like 150. Like, not when you have 2k in the bank, but like around when you hit 150 in general, you should go scout for expansions and look for newest potential expansions Protoss can throw down. And that's when you go, all right, if that exists right there, I go kill that the second I max. And you, again, you can be maxed right now, and if you walked over here and sniped this and walked away, it makes it much harder for Protoss to keep up with you going forward from there. But Protoss gets this kind of for free. Yeah, no worries. So you can see like your Hydra attack too goes right in the front and then backs off, and then it just gets like zoned. He was not actually in position to defend this, so this would have been the better snipe. This would have been the better direction. A better place.
Yeah.
So but you didn't know that because you didn't set up a link scout, which again, it's totally fine. We were talking about the mineral spending first as a priority, but for the future, make sure you do that, because that's a huge deal about opportunity for dealing with Protoss. Because now this is so much extra money he's going to be able to just add into his upkeep of his army, because his main base is mining out. His natural is going to start mining out really soon. Like some of these patches are like 200, 200, 200, like not too much longer on that. So if you deny an expansion right now, that's so damaging to his upkeep of what he can afford. And then you backed up and you sacked some units, which was what you should do. That's what I was asking you to do. It's super important to get rid of some supply. Because if you were to, now the thing is if he pushes you when he has Colossus and you don't have lurkers, you'll die. You have to have lurkers for this. So, but
If he had pushed me right now, I would have died, right? Like I don't know
not
what he's
necessarily.
waiting
Like
for.
the thing is, he would have pushed you, and you would have died if you would have taken that fight and lost your army. But the fact that you can back up to creep spread and make lurkers, it doesn't actually take that long to make a lurker. It's about as long as it takes to make like a zergling, essentially. And for him, he doesn't know exactly where you're going to be either. There's always a level of misdirection and like not knowing what's going on there. So you could for sure get lurkers out before he attacks you. And I would say worst case scenario, if he did attack you right now, would be maybe you lose one base and then you set up the next base to defend it. Something like that.
And remind me, so we went, we expanded to, I forgot, we expanded maybe 3 bases at some point. I'm just trying to remember the timing of when you decided, okay, let's make the Hydra den, and then when the Hydra den is made, you said then now we can make Evo chambers.
So, okay, your
like
tech
that.
path goes like this, okay? So your spawning pool is easy. Everyone knows spawning pool. It's like right off the bat. But your Roach Warren is made around the time when you are going to possibly start the layer, or on the clock. A good number to reference the clock with is you want to be starting your Roach Warren in general around like 3:30. The reason why 3:30 is so important is because the Roach Warren's build time itself is like 39 seconds, I believe. It's exactly 39 seconds. And then roaches themselves take it's like 20 seconds to make. It's 19 seconds. So if you make a Roach Warren and then make roaches, if there's a possibility your opponent can attack you with a ground army, right around like 4.5 minutes is when they're going to do that to you. So you have plenty of time to get your roaches out, and then within like 10 seconds after that, of like you relocating your roaches to whatever you need to go to, you'll be like, oh, here comes the adepts, if they do that to you. So that's a good, healthy number to have to make sure you don't die to early pressures and like fall behind. Now, Hydra starts when you're in the middle of saturating your 3rd base. So it's earlier than Evo Chambers. Because by the time your Hydra starts, you'll already have a layer. You'll already have been cranking out drones for a long time. Your natural mineral line, your main mineral line, and your first gas should already be fully saturated. You'll be starting to really crank out minerals on your 3rd base. And this is important to know this with gas, okay? So this also pairs in with the Hydra. Just to make it really easy, your first gas takes 2 off when you get link speed, and you put 2 back on when you have a fully saturated natural, like we talked about earlier. Gases 2 and 3 don't start until your 3rd base mineral line has like 8 drones on it, like halfway saturated. And then gases 4, 5, 6 don't start until you're fully saturated. So gases 2 and 3 and 4, 5, 6 are all similar together, okay? They're going to be within like 30 seconds of each other. Very, very close together. But gases 1 to 2 and 3 are going to be like 2 minutes apart or 3 minutes apart. And then you don't take the Hydra until you start gases like 2 and 3. So in the middle of saturating your in the middle of saturating your 3rd base, that's when you throw down Hydra. So
and then the 2 other gas, like 2nd and 3rd gases.
Yeah, you're gonna be like
around the same time.
So now the Hydra is gonna be ideally wanting to be started then, but sometimes there's a little bit of a judgment call that needs to happen. And if you're getting attacked heavily by like adepts or something, and you need to make roaches instead, well, Hydrogen's gonna get delayed then, and that's totally fine. But if it's a game like this where the guy's passive macro, then you can make it then for sure. Okay. And then once you have full saturation on all 3 bases, 66 drones, and then you start your 4th base, that's when you start Evo Chambers. Because
say that again. Sorry. I see. When my 4th base is.
So when you start the actual just hatchery itself, because you're already fully saturated on 3 bases, and now there's going to be a phase of the game where you're going to start making units off of 3 fully saturated economy, 3 fully saturated bases for an economy. That is when you start the 4th, and that is when you start making army, and that is when you pair that with starting Evo Chambers.
Oh, so Evo Chambers typically will start at around what time?
Probably like 6.5 minutes.
Oh, that's okay. Oh, okay. That's much later than I thought. I was always freaking out that I need to do. Okay.
The reason why is because you're stretching your gas so thin in the early game, and because you don't have much of it, because you're exploding your minerals, and your minerals are queens, overlords, drones, all economy things, and you're really cranking out your creep. You're cranking out your hatchery, like just expansions in general. And if you make like Evo Chambers, let's say like at 4 minutes or like 5 minutes, you'll never be able to afford Hydras on time. You'll never be able to make roaches on time. You're gonna just have these upgrades going, and the only way you can afford those upgrades and make those units is if you take gases earlier than you should be. And then that fucks up your minerals, which is your economy. So
Okay,
yeah,
thanks.
yeah,
Yeah.
no worries. So yeah, like around 6:30 ish, like just after you get everything going. So so basically, the big thing to keep in mind would be priority number 1 is saturating 3 bases. Priority number 2 is spinning your larva off of those 3 bases, while also throwing down a 4th base. So making sure your fundamentals of your larva is being utilized. So you're expanding for more, and you're using what you have, and then you go Evo Chamber. After that has happened, once you're fully saturated on 3 bases, which will most of the time happen around 6.5 minutes. You never want to make an Evo
Okay.
Chamber in this kind of a game if your build is going to be crazy greedy. If you're going to be going for like, you don't want to make Evo Chamber early, which is going to disrupt your economy, because then that just
Right.
literally slows your, like, you'll be like, okay, well, I got my upgrade now, but now I still can't attack because my supply of my army is like 10 lower than what it should be, or 15 lower than what it should be, because I fucked up my drones early, which it definitely makes a big problem for you later. Um, and then once your 4th base is like, I would say like 70% of the way done, like almost done. That's also going to be around the time when you should be like maybe at 120 supply or 130 supply. That will be all off of like all those hydras or roaches or lings, whatever you've been making at that time in the game, for what you've scouted, what you think is appropriate. Hydras most often the time is what you're going to be making, unless you're getting really all in, then it'll be roaches, and then lings are just a buffer. Like if you have no gas, you just throw in some lings. Um, at that point, you'll be probably 120 supply. That's when you make one quick round of injects into all drones to hit 80 drones on this, because you can do it really fast. And then you're
Yeah.
done. And then you're like, cool, I'm at like 84 drones. Nice. Now I can just max out on my army and throw one pressure at him while I tech the hive and get my hive tech going.
Okay.
And then hive tech is when you really want to take a fight. So your 200 supply first max is not supposed to really take a fight like with his army as much as you want. Like, it's not going to be like designed to look for his army and kill his army. It's designed to look for his economy and kill his economy and slow him
Okay.
down. So you can also add in some counterattacks there. Like, for instance, what if you have like, let's just say, for instance, your army is 7 roaches, 30 lings, and like 60 hydras, or like more like 40 hydras, because 60 is way too much supply. 40 hydras, 7 roaches, and like 30 lings. So I'll just write it down so it's easy to remember. It's like, so 7 roaches, 30 ling, 7 roach, and 40 hydra. And let's say in this
Sure.
army you go, okay, how about I take my 7 roaches and my 30 lings, because I scouted where his bases are, and I put my 7 roaches and 30 lings right there. And then I take my 40 hydras by themselves and put them right here. And then I take my 40
Okay.
hydras and I snipe a base, and I get his attention to come up here, and I have a quick retreat on creep so my hydras don't die. And as he runs and chases my hydras and I snipe the nexus, 7 roaches and 30 lings run to his door, and if there's a unit in the door, the roaches just pound it and just kill it with range. And then I run into his main
Okay.
base with lings and roaches, and they're very disposable, and I might ruin his economy. And then behind that you make lurkers, and then you go into Hydra Lurker, and then you can make Hydra Lurker Ling again. You're done making roaches now, because the lurkers literally replace roaches. That's the same job, but they do it way better, because they're just designed to zone the ground. And then you can just go into Lurker Hydra, and then you can once again now shove him harder and be like, well, fight my lurkers now, and go from there. And then you're expanding behind this, you're keeping your economy flowing behind this, so there's no problems for you, and meanwhile your opponent's like starving, and he's losing probes
Yeah.
like crazy. That's the
Well, I'd
idea.
certainly love to
Yeah.
shove him harder, so
Yeah, right?
yeah, absolutely.
That's the idea of what you want to happen.
Okay.
All right, now let's talk about your engagement for the final part. So, like, you sometimes won't even get to this stage of the game because you might just win off the economy harassment, and you're like, wow, he's just dead. He just broke to that.
Right.
But right here, so you can see how timid he's being, right? This is what creep does all the time. There's no one's just gonna dive in the middle of the heart of Zerg, because all that does is, like, imagine if there was like a blob of like a color like red, and there's like a little blue circle that goes in the middle of the blob. And if it gets
Sure.
surrounded, it only has a higher chance to be fully surrounded, and everything comes from all angles, and Colossus perform
Right.
very weak when they're getting hit from all angles. They're really good if they're only fighting from one angle. So the deeper he goes, the more likely he opens himself up to more counterattack avenues, which is scary. That's why everyone's so timid about pushing creep that hard. But now you have your army right here is 15 lurkers and 32 hydras. And the idea, the ideal situation, like this is a good army, by the way. That's not bad numbers. That's really healthy for this kind of engagement. The idea you'd want to have though is you'd want to have lurkers in a line that is like diagonal from top right to bottom left. That like kind of cuts off this army. It's because it's like every lurker is gonna get efficiency here. Like if you made like, let's say you made like a V or something that was like lurkers go in this way and they come back out this way. Like half your lurkers won't fight while other half will, and then it's just not going to be optimal damage. So as whatever line you can create in your mind that goes, I can cut him off like that because of where he's engaging. You set that up, and then you never cross that line with Hydras. You just guard the line with Hydras. And then that's the idea what you'd want to have happen here. And what happened for you here was some of your lurkers burrowed. And this is somewhat of a line on the top right. There's a couple of them are a little bit far back, which is okay. You could always fix that as well if you want to. But if it's only like a couple lurkers that are fucked up, it's not the end of the world. As long as you have the majority of your army in that line that creates a path there, that's okay. But your Hydras they took an initial hit right there from the Colossus and a couple of carrier shots, which is, it's okay. Then you start fighting here behind a couple of your lurkers. This initially was going okay for you, but the problem for you is that you just don't have a lot of lurkers burrowed, and a lot of them aren't. They're just up here doing nothing. Like so many of them are just up in on the bottom part. And then your Hydras move again, and you really want to avoid that as much as possible. If the interceptors are there and active, you want your Hydras having as much uptime damage as possible. You want to move as little as possible, because as long as you're
actually,
or go ahead.
Sorry, can I ask you because I think. So this is probably a key thing is what is my goal here in
to kill
this
interceptors.
moment with this engagement?
Killing interceptors.
Okay. So am I trying to my goal is to kill his interceptors, and that means I'm not trying to overcommit into him, but if he's gonna approach me, then I'm gonna take his interceptors, but I'm not gonna, I guess, chase after him. Am I guess taking a defensive posture here?
You're taking a defensive posture 100%. You can chase him, by the way, once interceptors are dead, because each interceptor has an 11-second rebuild, or it's 9. Sorry, my bad. It's 9-second rebuild time. So that is, you just multiply 8 times 9, and that's how long it would take a carrier to get back to full power. Because 8 interceptors at 9 seconds apiece, which is a fucking long time. That's 72 seconds right there. And that, that's never going to happen. He's never going to have that amount of, he's not going to have 72 seconds after you wipe them all out before you get on top of him. And if all
actually that helps a lot though, because here I'm just freaking out. I'm like, oh my gosh, I need to have everything attacking his shit. But I guess what you're saying is I can take a step back, let the lurkers kind of stay in the front, and just get rid of his interceptors without overcommitting my army.
And the key thing too is as soon as so both of these upgrades have their own purpose as to why they're really good. So this upgrade's really good because it makes you actually zone out the Colossus entirely, because it gives you more range than Colossus. Because a lurker by default has 8. A Colossus with its upgrade, which it always will have, because it can get it way faster than you can get this upgrade for lurker. The Colossus with the extended thermal lance will have 9. And then the lurker with the seismic spines, which is the lurker plus 2 range upgrade, will have 10. So you'll always...
So actually...
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, yeah. So, so in this case, I actually got lucky. My creep spread happened to be good enough that I guess I did have vision that whole time.
Yeah.
But if I didn't have creep spread there, the lurker's vision will... like that extra range won't matter because of the vision.
So vision, you're gonna have vision regardless. Like lurkers and Hydras will be seeing what they're shooting, generally speaking, especially if he mixes in some gateway units like this. Because even if like an adept is in front, if an adept gets shot, all it does is it splashes deeper into the Colossus. So it's totally fine.
Got it.
So it's not so much about vision, it's about mobility is really what it's about. Because now there's 2 benefits here. Which is why it does not matter which upgrade you take first. This upgrade, Adaptive Talons, is really nice because it allows you to up burrow and run really fucking fast and burrow really fast on his Colossus. It allows you to capitalize on chasing him down. So that's really nice if you wait until that opportune moment, which is when carriers are depleted, and then you just charge him. And you're like, burrow in your face, and range doesn't matter anymore because you're shooting him at like 3 range or 2 range at that point. And then as he runs away, things just die. Now, so that's why that's good. It's good to have both, obviously, but you can't get both immediately. And then Seismic Spines is a good upgrade in the sense that it allows you to have an even easier time zoning him out, because as he tries to poke your Colossus, you're poking him right back with lurkers. And lurkers kill Colossus way fucking faster than Colossus kill lurkers. Because a Colossus does bonus to light, weaker to non-light. A lurker's not light, it's heavy. Or it's armored, rather. And it also has passive armor on top of that, which only reduces the damage a Colossus does. And its armor applies twice because a Colossus has 2 attacks. So it is a tanky motherfucker, essentially. It's super tanky.
Okay.
And then, yeah. So, again, the zoning technique is good for the first upgrade for range, and then the speed upgrade is good for once you get the capitalized momentum on your side, you go. But that's a moment where, like, it can happen so fast. Because if you have all these Hydras just popping interceptors, you'll be, if you had this many Hydras, which is currently still 29, just on a move, you'll be killing about 3 interceptors a second, or 4 interceptors a second. Like, they will be killing interceptors so fast. Which is why you want to avoid move commanding as much as possible when you're behind the line. So you'll notice when the fight starts, you move command quite a bit here.
Oh,
you're
yeah,
panicking
yeah,
a little
I
bit.
see.
Because that's the first move command right there. You should already be attacking. Because, like,
And they would have just focused on the intercept. Because I was trying to focus on the army, but I guess the interceptors are the priority, which is why the attack move is really.
So the first part about the fight that went like not so great for you is you started off in front of your lurkers. So as you backed up, a bunch of interceptors already popped out, which is you could have been killing them as they started to pop out. So that's a waste of like 2 seconds already right there. And then they're already out now, and you move again right here. And that's like another waste of like 2 seconds. You get on top of the line again. So now you're actually having the front line of your Hydras getting AoE'd with your lurkers, which is only lowering your DPS.
Basically, I would have been better off just doing nothing at this point.
And then you moved again, right? And then there's so much time just moving around, not killing interceptors. And you're still moving. And you're trying to get behind the line, which means you're trying to guard the Hydras. And now you're killing a good amount of interceptors here. You can see all these little blue explosions happening. You're finally getting some good uptime of DPS. And look at the carriers. 2. There's 5 on that one. There's 4 on that one. There's 5 on that one. The one behind it's hard to see right here. There's 5 on that one too. So there's like 3 of them with 5, and then 1 with 2, and 1 with 3, or 1 with 4. So you're
70% of their interceptors are gone
you've killed a good amount already. And you even killed right there, like another 3 or 4, right? Just right there. Ezekiel is retreating back into the carrier. Now there's 1, now there's 2, now there's 3. Like, you've killed a lot of interceptors. This is capitalized moment here. Like, if you had just done that from the bat, from the first part, and then you uprode all your lurkers, your rundown upgrade's done. So keep in mind, when you make your lurker upgrade, whatever you choose to do should be how you plan to take the fight further. This is something I could definitely not explain to you during this fight. This is way more advanced. But now I can explain it to you in the replay. So keep in mind what you get first. If you get seismic spines, do not chase him down. Just zone him and guard him. So if you get seismic spines, the proper response would probably be leave half your lurkers right here, put half your lurkers like right here, and then have your Hydras rotate between the 2 of them wherever he goes. That way you can zone out the Colossus and kill his shit off your base. If that makes sense.
I see.
So you're playing the defensive zone technique there.
And the reason there is because if I got seismic spines first, meaning I have extra range, not extra burst speed.
Yep. So you want to push him off your base and stay there. Like, you're basically drawing lines in the sand, and you're never crossing them, but neither is he. That's what you do with seismic spines, with +2 range. If you get adaptive talons like you did, though, this game, your strategy then is to take 1 fortification, like you did initially, and then use kill the interceptors, and then you chase his ass down. You go, okay, well, run him down now. That's how you do it that way. And then if you get both upgrades eventually, which you're going to eventually have, you always run him down. That's totally fine. Because you can run him down, and as he's running further away from you, you have more range to shoot him as he runs further. So it makes it even easier to run him down. But yeah, the adaptive talons is super good at running him down. But if you do not ever run him down, though, if you don't have that upgrade, it's going to go so bad for you. Because lurkers run slower, and they burrow way slower. So you're going to try and run him down, and every time you finally burrow, he's going to like shoot you, stutter step, and just run away. And by the time you've finally burrowed, he's out of range. And you're like, let's do it again. And you're just eating damage like crazy. So you can't chase him down unless you have that upgrade to make you burrow faster. But now, so he kills your base, which was a nice move by him in that particular moment in time. Your lurkers are a little clumpy. I would say try to line them out a little bit more if you can. Like, if you have a moment, maybe like take some of the back lurkers and like put them to the left or put them to the right. Like, make again that line as much as you can. That way you don't have these like 2 lurkers in the front that are so isolated, and then 3 more or something. And then he comes in again, right? And now watch how fast. If you don't move here, watch how fast these first interceptors die. And you moved again, right? So now you're not killing them anymore. So you already killed 2 there, and you move commanded. and you're still move commanding, and now you stopped, and now they're starting to just die super fast again. So you really need to just kill the interceptors. And once you stop,
okay, so
they're gone.
if I didn't waste this army, so it seems like I've pretty much wasted the Hydras by running them around
Yes.
trying to figure something out.
Yep.
If I had not done that, is my army actually better than this guy's army?
Yes. And then what would happen?
Okay.
What would happen? This is the trade-off, okay? So you're running around your Hydras a lot, and you're actually overlapping your lurkers. Like, you're running on that line repeatedly. And
Right.
what's happening is you're getting AoE'd. You're giving the Colossus more damage by letting him AoE your lurkers and your Hydras.
And the Hydras at the same
And
time.
what would happen if you didn't run on the line, but you stayed behind the line and you pushed him off the line by killing the air off the line, essentially, is you would deplete the carriers, which is a good chunk of his damage as well, and you're still going to lose the same lurkers you're losing now, but you would have lost like no Hydras really. And then so let's say you have 15 to start, and by the time you deplete the carrier of all the interceptors, you lose 3 lurkers, or you lose 4 lurkers to the Colossus. And then you then pounce on his army with like 11 lurkers and 30 Hydras. And this army is not going to beat 11 lurkers and 30 Hydras. He's going to take a little bit of a trade with you, but if you are walking 11 lurkers at 4 Colossus with adaptive talons, you're going to burrow in his face and they're all going to die. And then as their Colossus are dying, if they stand there, they're dead so fast. But if they keep running away, all you do then, once you burrow the lurker on his face, stutter your Hydras forward repeatedly, and all of his army will die. Because
so theoretical. Yeah. Oh yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say there's just not enough void. Like carriers would be like paperweights. They're doing nothing. Colossus will die ridiculously fast to the lurker, and then the void ray. There's 8 void rays don't beat 30 Hydras. They just don't.
Right.
So you could win that fight at that point.
So I was going to ask a theoretical question. Let's say he didn't have any Colossus.
Sure.
And he let's say he replaced all those with Void Rays.
Sure.
Would at that point, I guess we would have just not bothered have any lurkers when he would have only gone Hydra?
No, you still want lurker, but I would say maybe make a little bit less. So you made 15 here, which I think is a really healthy number to have. Like anywhere between like 12 and 16 is good versus a ground hybrid, like heavy ground hybrid army. Now, if it's less ground, let's say he's got 5 Templar, 6 High Templar, which is very common for Skytoss. Like they always add Storm into Skytoss. You want to still have like at least 8 lurker. Around 8 lurker is a really nice number to have if they have mostly air and just a couple ground units. Because that way, the reason why is because you cannot cast Storm from 10 range, but a lurker can hit a Templar from 10 range. So you can actually kill his Templar as they try to engage. And the best thing you can do, if the guy goes for High Templars, if it's like that stage of the game, we didn't get to that point in this game, but we would have eventually gotten there if it gotten that far. Add in Spore Crawlers to your base. That's why you see a lot of pro players do this. They add spores everywhere because they're multi-purpose, not only because they take damage from the carriers and they help support damage with the Hydras. That's all good and well. That's really nice. But this is the hugest thing of all. There's enough of them to not die like an Overseer to the focus fire of Skytoss, so you don't lose your detection range, so your lurkers always get optimal shots off, but also they can't be feedbacked like an Overseer can, so they don't die. Because the Overseers are so squishy and so killable for Protoss, but Spores aren't. And Spores are also relatively cheap. They're multi-purpose super good in every way. So that would be the moment in the game where if it's like 25 minutes in, Supreme in-game, you start adding in Spores everywhere. Like, you want to have like 10 Spores, ideally, like in your fucking line with your lurkers.
Yeah. Wow. Wow, I didn't... I had no idea that going this deep into a replay could be so much fun, but also like, wow, there was so much in there. Thank you.
Yeah,
Holy
no worries.
moly.
There's definitely a lot to talk about, right? And it's just capitalizing on momentum shifts in the fight. And the momentum shift for you was if he lets you have his interceptors, you kill them and then you push on him afterwards, because then he's down. Like, it's essentially like you just killed the carriers at that point. And now if he's got 5 carriers, that's 30 supply worth of army right there. That's just gone. And then it's just Void Colossus, and Lurker Hydra beats Void Colossus.
Yeah.
All right, so you ready for another one?
Sure. You know what? 1 second. Can you give me 2 minutes? I need to take a quick piss break.
Sure, no worries. Take your time.
All right. Thanks. I'll be right back.
No worries.
But thank you. This is already really helpful. And now when we do this next game, I can already tell I'll end up improving on like one thing. Let's see how much I can remember.
I'll guide you along the way too. So I'll give you reminders and stuff.
Cool. All right, 1 second.
Sure. All right, guys. What up? What up, chat? So far, pretty good. We're gonna be going further. We're probably for like another 40 minutes or so, guys, with this coaching lesson. This is a 2-hour session here. So we'll do another game for him, and then if it's a game that's pretty cut and dry, we'll probably do another game after that or something like that. But if this game is a lot of stuff to talk about again, we'll probably just do one more game and talk about it a lot, break it down. But he's doing pretty good, pretty good. Lots of, and then obviously Brown Bear, you'll hear this, or Brown Ranger, you'll hear this in the the VOD after, and yeah, you'll be all good. But yeah, dude, good job so far. I feel like he's definitely picking up on a lot of stuff we're talking about. There's a lot of potential for him to honestly go to Masters, I would say. Like, I feel like he's able to handle a lot of shit we're talking about, which is really good. Vibe, do you think you're better or worse than your 2013 WCS days? I think I'm better as a player right now than I was back then, but I think overall, relative to the scene, I think I'm worse, if that makes sense. I was in like the top like 2% or like not even 2%. It was like a decimal. I was like at I was a BlizzCon competitor back then. I could actually make it to BlizzCon, which means you're a top 24 player in the world at that point. Definitely not that anymore. I used to be like, I would say this. I used to be like a top 100 player in the world on average, in my opinion. And now I think I'm like a top 1,000 player or like a top 2,000 player in the world. And definitely not as good as I used to be mechanically. And relative to everybody else.
All right.
Welcome back.
Thank you.
All right, I'll pop open your stream Mola, or yeah, your scene now, and let's see.
Is
what
it still being shared?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
I still see you.
Okay. Wow, at this point, I don't even know which race I want to play against.
So I kind of hope it's Protoss again, just that way you can like really capitalize. Ugh.
Oh shoot! I think I just forgot everything we just talked about.
It's okay. No worry. It's how it's gonna go, right? There's so much. I already know that's how it goes. Like you'll forget 90% of everything, and you'll be like, okay, I remember one thing. That I remembered that Overlord thing you said, or I remembered the Evo chamber timing, or whatever it might be. There might be one thing you remember, but I'll guide you through it. It's all good. And then
Cool.
you'll have the VOD to watch and memorize it over time. And when it's not so high stress, where I'm like critiquing you as you play and shit like that. Okay,
Cool.
ZvP.
All right. Zerg.
So,
All right.
how do you want to play? Do you want to do a Z, like a Ling Bane, or you want to do like Roaches? How you feeling?
I would love to do a Baneling Nest.
Okay.
Just so I can practice just to practice like the expanding macro.
Sure.
I guess they're both macro. I don't know, but
Yeah.
to me,
So
you
what
gotta
I'll
do
have
the
you
third
do.
base.
This is what I'll have you do. I'll have you take a quick third, and I'll have you go Ling Bane defense while droning up into a Roach timing. You'll basically the point is you're gonna get full saturated 3 base and go mass roaches. So for this one, just do like standard. Your overlords are fine so far. Standard 16 hatch, and then like an 18 gas, 17 pool for this the opener.
Yep. Yep. She said, yeah. So I'll do 16 hatch, and then you said 18
Gas,
gas and
17 pool. Yeah, super standard. And drone up, nice. And for this one, do not make the gas early though. Let the 16th drone you made go to the mineral line and have 17 and 18 make the gas in the pool. So the newest eggs make the last 2 buildings you have. Oh, so you would it's okay, it's okay, yeah. You would have wanted that to mineral line, it's okay. So just have 18 make the pool, and then you're good to go. Because you want to maximize that 16 to 16 as fast as possible. And then now make drones as fast as you can for this, and only rip off 1 drone off the mineral line. Your gas is a little early, so it's going to feel weird. But if you did the 17 gas properly, you only need to rip 1 drone off the mineral line, and then the 2 eggs can fill in the 3, if that makes sense.
In this case, I made all 3 go, but you're saying I can just.
You want to get the gas going ASAP once it's up. So I would, because you don't want to be behind on link speed. So we can talk about it later. It's okay. I don't want to distract you about it. We'll just move on.
And you said wait till 155 before making that overlord.
Yeah. Yep. That way, because you'll see Lings crossing at some point if otherwise. And you can make Overlord now because you're good to go. There's no 12 pool coming. So check his timing of his hatchery and compare it to yours. And there isn't one. Okay, so now make a Ling and go scout his base. And I would say make one spine crawler right now. Sal, thank you for the raid, bro. Doing a coaching lesson, but much love, man. Appreciate you.
And I should make more Lings right now, or not even bother?
Make drones, honestly. Make drones. This could be roaches. I would say make drones to get Ling speed, and you have a spine, so that's already going to help a lot. And send your Lings right now, 2 of them at least, to his base. You want to run right into his mineral line and just see what the hell's going on. Because this could be like a 1-base layer tech. Like, this guy could be playing really weird. And the last thing you want to do
probably
is...
unlikely,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I guess, yeah, it would be this Diamond 3, but he's probably, I'm assuming, doing Lings right now.
He's probably, yeah. And you can always put queens on the ramp. Or, yeah, he just is AFK. That's what he was doing. He's not even there. So, so let's talk about this really fast.
Wow, it's that easy to win.
Yeah, right. That's what happens when I watched it. People get scared. So keep in mind, think about this for a second. If he flooded you, all you have to, like, if you're like making drones and he floods you, all you have to do to not die is put your both queens on the ramp next to the spine and you hold position, and it buys you like 30 seconds to make Lings. And those 2 queens and the spine are going to be so much value at killing so many Lings in the process.
So you're saying just keep the 4 Lings, just keep droning up. I got that 1 spine crawler, and only once I start seeing him come through, then I can
like
start
yeah,
making Lings
yep.
as well.
And if let's just say, because think about this for a second. Hypothetically, if he runs out of his base with, like, let's say you have, as your Lings run up the ramp, he's forced to show you what he has now, because that's why I told you to go there like right away with those 2 Lings.
Oh, I see.
Yeah,
okay.
so like he's like, okay, well now you see he's got Ling speed just finished for him, and he's got 24 Lings, and he's running to your base. If you have like 9 drones on your natural mineral line, and now you start making Lings out of 2 hatcheries at once, and you already have a spine and 2 queens, your immediate response to that could be, okay, how about I make 2 more queens to go to 4, and then I just make a bunch of Lings. So by the time he gets to your base, you only have 2 Lings and 2 queens and a spine done. But then you have access to like 30 drones, to where if you needed to, you could take the drones at your natural and mineral walk to your main. And you could always mineral walk back to your natural in front of your queens and attack him off your queens. That's something you could do, because you can go through the queens, so you can bob and weave in and out of them if you want to help like block the ramp a little bit. Like here's a cool trick, okay? I'm gonna tell you this really fast, and it's something that's really fancy. It's really interesting. But what you could do is you could mineral walk your drones from your natural to your main. You could group up with some more drones in your main. Let's say you group up with let's say you have 8 at the natural, and you group up with 8 more in the main. Now you take 16 that are clumped up really close together because they're all in the main mineral line, and you mineral walk through the queens back to the natural. You could, right as if you think about the line in the sand, like the lurkers and the hydras, think about now a new line in the sand where like it's the queens and the ramp. Once your drones pass that line, and now they're on the Zergling side of the queens, they're on the natural side of the queens, you immediately attack move, and they fan out and spread on the ramp, and they body block the queens, and then you hold position. And they don't even take aggro anymore.
Oh, you hold position the drones, now they're, yeah, I see. So
and then the queens are just like smacking, yeah,
exactly.
The drones just fuck up all the AI there. And then meanwhile, you're still making Lings. Like, you can do so many things to fuck over the opponent's Lings there. But generally speaking, only 4 Lings at a time can attack your queens if they're on the ramp, because it's 2 Lings per queen, because there's not enough surface area. And then a spine crawler has 2 armor passively and 300 health, and a Ling does 5 damage. So that spine crawler is going to be a fucking tank. And you could also transfuse the spine crawler. Like, there's...
And actually, that leads me to the other thing is, so because we had seen we knew the situation now, and so I wasn't sure what to do with the energy of these queens when they popped out.
I would say, and you should inject the first time, because you don't, if it's roaches, that the drone pull thing and the queen ramp thing isn't going to be as relevant anymore. But the roaches are way slower than Lings, and you could make so many Lings by the time you got to your base. And you also have a spine.
Also, my instinct should have just been to inject both of them, or I should have creep spread the second.
You should never creep spread in ZvZ like this. So ZvZ is a little different.
Okay.
ZvZ, because again, you're keeping the gas mining, you're making Bane first. You definitely want to double inject here, and that's totally fine. But the point I'm trying to make here is there's 3 things he could do to you here, and they're all counterable by having more economy than him. And the first, I already told you about the Ling one. You because again, you're still making you're You're still making lings as you see the lings come out if he goes lings. And you can use your drones and queens and spine in a fancy, creative way to buy time and fuck over his AI. And then you should be able to defend that no problem if he's one basing you, because you'll have so much more production than he does that you'll overwhelm him. Now, if it's roaches and if it's at his base and you watch 8 roaches walk down his ramp, it'll take those roaches so long to get to your base that you could do so many things there. You could just make a bunch of lings. You could make an extra like 2 spine crawlers. And your 2 spines would finish behind your first spine, like as he's starting to attack your first spine. Because that's how, like, roaches are so slow. And then you would be fine again. There would be no way he could really punish you there as long as you just control the front of your base with... Now, spines are like your line in the sand, and you only run your lings forward if they attack your spines. And then if he disengages your spines, a spine poking a roach is so much damage, and if he runs away from it, just run away from him as well. Don't chase him all the way, just let your spines do all the work, and then keep making lings. And spines have more range than roaches, so you're going to poke him on his engage, and you're going to poke him again on his disengage. You're going to get way more pokes than he will. And then the final thing that it could be, the third option, which is if he proxied you with like some weird bullshit where you're like, wait, what? Why does he only have 1 base? Oh, but he actually has 2 and he's proxied a hatchery over here in some weird way. Then it would be your spine crawler would help a lot. And if you just go speedlings there with a spine, you'll be able to actually have more or less like 2 hatcheries versus 1 hatch because one of them's so far out of range from his other one. And the spine helps you make the difference early on. And the extra drones you have allows you to constantly use full injects with mass production there as much as possible. But this is the moment I would say so many people freak out that like everybody does, because they're like, well, fuck, dude, all in, no drones. It's like, no, you gotta make drones because you're all in if you don't make drones as well.
Okay. I'm just laughing also because this guy has no idea all the lessons being learned and he wasn't even playing.
Yeah, he's just like, oh shit, I was AFK. I was watching a movie. Oh,
yeah. And he has no idea that what he did actually turned into a great learning lesson. So that's really cool.
We can jump into another one just because, this one was nothing.
Sure. Okay. And then, I know, I guess, well, you can let me know how we're, I know time also.
Yeah, sure. We have enough time. We have like another, like probably like 20 minutes, 30 minutes. We're good to go.
Cool.
Because we started late, so I know it has been 2 hours since our original proposed agreement time, but I was still sleeping right now. 2 hours ago. My bad. Yeah. Like I literally woke up and I messaged you on Discord. It's like, oh fuck, and then I went and brushed my teeth really fast and just came back to the computer.
It's so funny because I was kind of imagining that's exactly what was happening. That's what I was imagining.
Dude, my schedule is so messed up nowadays. It's so bad. I think WoW like really fully degen me out. Oh, you're playing a VFam guy. Nice.
Oh, cool. That's. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing.
Alright, so it's Protoss, which is going to give you another Protoss example here. So first Overlord, I was to say. On this map particularly, make sure first Overlord does exactly what you just did. Go to the natural first because you'll avoid the red zones that way.
The red zones?
The slow zones next to your main base.
Oh, I didn't even know that. Oh, that's what that is?
Yeah.
Wow, okay.
You can also make sure your Overlord, and there's one more in the middle of the map. You're going to go through it. Make sure you go south of it with your Overlord. Otherwise, your Overlord's going to be super slow.
Oh, yeah. I don't know if it'll get there or not.
It's going to run through it the way you zoned it. So you have to make your Overlord that's scouting go a little bit south once it gets to the middle of the map, if you make sense. Just go right around it. And then, otherwise, you're good to go. Nice hatchery. And then... on this one, you'll go back down to... You can do the same thing again where you go 16 mineral line, priority. The drones 17 and 18 take your gas in your pool.
This one's going to take my gas.
16 takes mineral line, 17 takes gas, 18 takes pool. So perfect that time. Because you want to make sure your mineral line's fully saturated as fast as possible. So this one can take the pool now. And then on Zerg versus Protoss and Zerg versus Terran, let 3 new drones just fill up the gas. That's totally fine. Do not ever touch your mineral line again. Let it just be. Only in ZvZ do you want to rip 1 more drone off, because you can see right now your gas is done. If you put 1 drone into it from the mineral line, it'd be 3 out of 3. That's only ZvZ, because you really need to prioritize Zergling speed in ZvZ. But in ZVT, ZvP, like against everything else, it doesn't matter. You still get it eventually, and it'll be fine. Okay, so let's look at his base for a second while you make drones behind this. Remember, okay, so you got like 20 seconds till core's done, or like 15 seconds, and that is definitely core first before Nexus, because
this core before, yes, it's almost done, and the
so
Nexus
that's
is barely starting.
potentially going to be really aggressive. So don't do anything different yet. It's okay. We can scout deeper into his base. Let's look at Chrono Boost now. Energy saved up, and check his gateway one more time before you leave it to see if he's chronoing the gate. Like you don't have to check it like that. I mean, just like look at it, but still go to his main base.
Oh yeah, his gate is not being chronoed.
Yeah, so that's you got until like 2:45, so around 2:50 with including travel time. And see how there's a lot of chrono there.
Oh, it's saved up. Yeah.
There's potentially going to be some aggression.
So he's being aggressive.
Yep, but there's 2 pylons in his natural though. You saw 2 pylons already, so and that's the 3rd one there too. So he's not proxying you, but now I would say you can actually Hydra Overlord around his base somewhere and expect aggression. So now you're still going to make lings at the same time. Or, I guess, probably make... there's a stalker hitting Overlord, actually, so don't make lings yet, is what I mean. But you're still going to make lings at, like, 3:30, 3:20, around there.
Oh, shit. Okay, sorry, I made 2 lings because there's a probe here, and I don't know.
Keep in mind, too, we're getting a little caught up on the scouting. Make sure you take a 3rd base as well. And then keep making drones for one more round really fast. No gas, no gas.
Oh, I was just doing the Overlord trick there.
Oh, it's okay. Sure. I got you.
I got capped by accident.
You're all good. Yeah, it's all good. Make another queen too when you can, and you are good. Because your queen's kind of late, I would say inject the hatchery, and then spread your creep, and now make a round of lings, and make your roach horn as well with this.
Oh, I see. Okay. So what I did is I got my 3rd going. I'm making a round of lings now.
Yep, make like 12, 14, something like that. And now you can start your layer as well.
Did I? Oh, I never took these things off.
Yeah, you didn't. It's okay. Yeah. And then make another queen again. And now this queen that just put a creep tumor down, put it next to the 3rd after the creep tumor, and that way you can inject immediately. And now your new queen again, your 4th queen is going to become the new creep starter. So make a queen at your natural again. And now take your lings and go scout his base. Like the front of his door. 2 adepts are coming, so it looks like he wants to take a 3rd possibly. But keep making overlords, don't supply block. And when your new overlords pop out, I want you to make like 5 roaches. That way if he does attack you, you're not going to get totally fucked. And then go back to making drones for a second here while you try to scout. So you can see more adepts and stalkers.
Wait, I have a missing queen.
Okay, and now you see, so he's got like 4 adepts, so that's fine. Keep making your creep spread. Now in this game particularly, I would say get a roach speed upgrade on your roach horn. Keep making drones for a second. And
I still have not. Wait, that was a rabbit. That was a bad time to do that.
It's okay. Just keep it, because you have enough drones. You just didn't put them on your 3rd. Just keep making drones. Really make drones right now. You have 5 adepts or 5 roaches to deal with the adepts, so that's plenty for now. Yeah. You don't need to go crazy here. You want to in nice group spread. You want to really make sure you get as many drones as possible, like as fast as you can. Keep making drones.
I think that's one of my problems is that I kind of lose concentration
Sure.
around this time of the game, and I'm
look,
just.
He's pushing you. Sorry to interrupt you, but he's pushing you. So now start making roaches. So the roaches you have are safety, and what he's doing now is he's pushing you. So don't go crazy. It wasn't a big blob, and there's a void ray too. Just make like another like 5 roaches, just like a little bit more. And now make a Hydra den when you can afford it, and deal with those adepts, and keep fixing your gases and all that stuff. So run your drones away from the natural. Don't let them all die. And have your roaches kill them. And your roaches are about to have speed, so it's going to be really easy to deal with this in a second. And then try to take your gases.
Where the hell are these? Okay,
so
I need to split them better.
Take it. It's okay. Take your 4th base. Keep making drones. Get all your gases. And start your Hydra den as well. And on this game, you're like, so mouse over top right. How much drones do you have? You have 61. So you keep making drones. So you need a little bit more. And make a few overlords too. You're about to block. So just take a moment, fix all your bases, make them all 3 out of 3 on the gases, and then 16 on the mineral lines. And grab your queens together and push those away. You can take another hatchery as well south of your natural. Like perfect if he's gonna annoy you like this. But fix your gases. You gotta. The big thing for you is fixing your gas, big time, and then fixing your mineral lines. Priority number 1 for sure. And then as soon as you do this, you can make hydras, which will make it easy to deal with the void rays. And don't miss your injects either. Try to go back and inject now, because ideally you want to have the hydras dealing with the voids, not the queens at this point. And then I would say make like 16 hydras. To keep that number in mind, 16 hydras, and go back to droning for your 4th base.
Okay.
Keep starting that creep.
I think this is where that dog peeing example comes into play,
Yeah,
because
it's okay.
I can tell my drone production has just been like, it's like my finger forgets.
It's okay. What's your drones count at now? Like probably around 80, I would imagine. It's 83. So good. So now just make hydras. Make your evos.
Oh, right.
And it's okay. Your evos were fine. You didn't have enough gas to afford earlier because your gas was really off. And then make your infestation pit now as well. And your hydras will take this just fine. Just keep making hydras. Just play defensive. Keep making hydras. You'll be okay. Zone them out. And get a creep tumor in your main base too. Yeah, good. Because that way you're not gonna get fucked if you like.
And you know, sorry, I forgot the last thing you said.
Keep making hydras for now. Make 1/1 upgrades on melee. Sorry, missile. This time missile weapons and carapace. Do not get melee because he's going full air. Keep spreading creep. Keep getting those gases. Take another. You already have another base. Good. Start infestation pit is also what I said too.
Oh yes, that's what it was.
Make sure.
So basically,
is your other Hydra upgrade going? Your range?
Yeah. Oh no.
There you go.
One, no.
Yeah. Nice. And then, so make lings and hydras. Just fucking slam it out because again, right now you want to punish his 4th base economy. Like remember what I said with the roaches and lings on a counterattack and the hydras go the other way? Do that this game if you can, as fast as you max out. Just keep injecting, keep spreading creep, and try to keep utilizing your larva. And then, how's the creep in your main? I think you haven't spread a tumor still. The queen stopped doing it. You really want to? There you go. Better. And then max. So you're maxed out. Now go for the attack. Try to set up your lings and roaches in one group, and all your hydras can. Hydras go north. Ling roach go south. Ling roach go towards the natural into the main.
And
so Ling roach go towards the main and break the wall, and then hydras go deal with the void rays and. Also, try to go kill that top base with your hydras. That's the top expansion of the gold.
Okay, so hydras are going up here.
Yep.
And then my lings are going
natural. Go as far apart from the hydras as you can. Like bust the door down with your. Like if there's a unit in the door, kill it with your roaches. So there is. So kill it with your roaches and get in there. Now hydras have opportunity to go north. I think they're coming south though, unfortunately, because of the map.
Where the hell are my hydras?
They're in the middle of the map. It's okay. Actually, just push. He went carrier really fast. Just push. This is actually a good fight for you. He doesn't have any robo cover, so your hydras can actually bust a base down. Now get in there and kill probes. Get in there and kill some probes. Now hydras are killing the 4th. Now behind this, keep making hydras and go hive and stuff like that. You're fucking owning him right now. You're doing a great job.
He must be playing easy. He probably knows we're doing bloody lessons.
I don't know, dude. He's playing ladder, so. Hey, good job. So I mean, like I said,
Booyah!
A lot of times this will kill your opponent. Like, you can clean it up a lot, but it works. It doesn't even always have to go down to lurkers.
Okay, I guess that multi-prong helped, but it seems like I actually had way more stuff than he did as well. So I don't know
that's how it's gonna go, because that's how you play if you know how to play greedy. That's how it will. Like, so there's 2 reasons why that happened. The first reason why you had more than he did is because if you know how to play greedy Zerg, for all the ways we talked about, where I'm telling you not to over prioritize gas and you're over prioritizing minerals, it makes your fucking economy explode like crazy. I'm also telling you not to get what's it called? Like you're not over making roaches. When I was like, he's attacking you, but don't go crazy. Make only like 5 and make drones. That if you know that stuff, if you know how to feel confident in these parts of the game, because and the reason why I knew this is because I was basing it off of what we scouted for your scouts. And he was still expanding. He was taking a 3rd base. He took a natural. He wasn't having like 8 gateways. So that's huge to know, oh, you're not getting all in. It's just a pressure. It's just harassment. It's to slow you down. It's not to kill you. Knowing these things is huge. And that's why your economy exploded like crazy and why you could afford so much so fast. Because if you go to the replay, go into the replay for yourself really fast here. Go back to like 830, 840, and you should be maxing around then. And let's look at what your supply was around like 830. If you're maxed around now, it means you're playing like a fucking champ. So let's see what you are. You're 150, but look at your money. You could be almost maxed right now. So you had this kind of the same problem as last time, where there was a little bit of like, once you got attacked a little bit, it was things were kind of shit was hitting the fan, and you're like, the drones, they're not doing what I want. And tell me again what you said. I'm getting overwhelmed. It happens, right? It happens. But your supply still is really good, and then you do eventually get it down, and you slam it out right now, and you max out really soon after. Like so right there, you just cranked up a bunch of supply again, and you have more than him because overall your macro is not bad. It definitely can be improved, but definitely not bad either. But for him, he went for a supremely greedy ass tech route, which was he skipped Robo, he skipped Gateway, he just went straight carrier. And that would be like you going, I'm just gonna go straight ultras, and you know, see what we can do with that. And it's like it's a much slower development process, because unlike Zerg, where even if you said I'm gonna go mass ultras, you could theoretically make like 10 at once, but he's limited by the Stargate, and the Stargates are also really like, imagine if you had to make for every ultra you make, you had to make an ultra din as well. That's what it would be like for Zerg essentially in that regard, I guess. Like, he just has limitations by how many Stargates he has, and then making carriers out of those Stargates and the gas limitation of what they cost. It's so much gas to afford all of this. And he's doing it from the beginning, which is why his supply is so low. So, yeah, he just doesn't have much here. So that's another reason why you just had so much more.
In this game, I maxed out much faster. Even though it wasn't at 830, it was still much faster than I would typically with a game that has so much stuff going on.
Sure.
So I guess so to me, I'm thinking the key area where the macro is why I'm not able to max out. I guess I'm forgetting to make my drones as the game is progressing. But then
honestly, I think you're doing a pretty good job with your drones. I'm not gonna lie. I think your drones are not that bad. I think your problem is your queen usage is all over the place. Like your injects get really hectic around 5+ minutes, and then things start falling apart a little bit. And then when you get attacked, you use those queens as well to defend, because when things get hectic, you slow down your macro because you start playing overly defensive, and that only slows down your macro to make you now have to always play overly defensive with your queens. So I think a way you could fix this for yourself, if you want to keep doing the spacebar spamming inject method, which it still works.
Actually, I hate it. I hate it because the queens, I can never keep track of where they are.
I'm not the biggest fan of it myself. But if you keep using it, it's not the end of the world. I would say the best thing you could do to make your life easy, just to take the next step for now, would be when you start your Hydra Den, or like when you really start like saturating your third base, I want you to start making, like basically when you start taking the layer, essentially, pair that with another 2 queens. If you become more of a queen user and like a higher number early on, you'll be able to afford it, and you'll be able to use those queens in a hotkey to defend your base. So you never touch your spamming injectors, you just use, and if you have to, add them into your Ling group or add them into your Roach group. I don't give a shit. Like, whatever you want to do is fine, because I'm imagining you have group 5 is all of your queens, which is what you're used to, which is your inject. Just have group 5 be 3 queens for your injects. That's it. And then every other queen that is now creep focused, have it go within your group 2, and then you can be like 2 creep tumor there, and then 2 attack over there because I'm getting attacked over there, and they'll help you not panic and lose your queens on your injectors.
So actually, I don't. Okay, so that actually clears some things up, because if I make extra, so that what you're proposing is maybe I have 6 to 7 queens instead of my 4 queens.
Because you already have 1 extra anyways, and it's in group 5 anyways. But if you just have group 5, and that's your, I can tell that's your spacebar spamming injector queen group, and that's okay. But if you take one of those out, you still have a queen per hatchery, and then you could actually have a more queen mobile without having to disrupt your injects. Because right now what's happening is whenever you want a creep tumor, you're like having to either green box it, or it might even grab an injector to go fucking make a creep tumor.
Yeah, exactly.
And then you don't want to. You want to isolate. Just because it's a queen doesn't mean that's just what it is. You want to have queens that are like either you're always a creep spreader or you're always an injector. And if the queens that are injectors are always going to be the defenders. You never want the injectors to be the defenders unless it's like, I'm dead if I don't do this. If it's like the
Got
last
it.
resort, then it's okay. But it shouldn't be like your first option. You should try to not disrupt injectors as much as possible.
So do you? Because actually, is that what you do then? You just leave one unhotkeyed
Yep.
queen
I
per
use
base?
camera hotkeys, so that's the
Because then I would
replaces.
rather do that. Yeah, I'll just always have a queen here, and then if I have three extra queens instead of the one extra queen, those are my number five hotkeyed, and I can run them around spreading creep. And I mean, I don't mind using them as attackers if I need to.
Yeah. So what I do is I like most games when I don't have to even touch my queens. I never hotkey them once. That the three that are injecting my bases. I just go camera hotkey 1, camera hotkey 2, camera hotkey 3 with 3 injects that way, and then
Okay.
that's it. And it's always accurate because they don't run around a lot. They're always hitting the same hatchery, and it's easy peasy. It only takes like half a second to inject my hatcheries as well. But
So actually, when do you? Okay. Do you only inject your first three hatcheries and the remaining ones you never inject?
if I do inject hatcheries beyond that, it's usually a shift rally command. Like, so if I am going my 3 hatcheries, like main, natural third, inject, 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 all throughout the game, every like 30 seconds, that happens all the time. But let's just say I have a 4th base that finishes up, and I have one of my 4 queens that's spreading creep. So I have 7 queens in total. One of my 4 queens spreading creep is currently at 152 energy because it's been running around, not always throwing a tumor down. Sometimes it defends, sometimes it spreads creep, but my creep looks good. I could be like, okay, how about I shift click out? I deselect that queen altogether. It no longer has a hotkey. And I
Okay.
take that queen and I hold shift and I just slam out injects on that 4th hatchery. And it just queues up 6 injects at once. And then it sits there. And then at once every like 2 minutes, I'll go back to it. And I'll be like, how about I queue up another 5 injects right now?
Got it. I see. So you're usually prioritizing your first three hatcheries for injects, and the any ones after that are optional.
Yeah, you don't have
That kind
like
of
you only really need to do it if you're doing a Zergling based style. But another way you can deal with it, this is what I do as well. If I know I'm gonna do a build that's like, okay, this is Lingbane Muta or like Lingbane Hydra, something that's really, really larva expensive. It's not like mostly Hydras, it's mostly Zerglings. What I'll do then is I'll make a macro hatch in like the main base, or maybe even like 2 macro hatches in the main base, and I'll take
okay.
my creep spreading queens and I'll put extra queens in the main base. That way, when I hit my
Oh,
hotkey
okay.
for the camera hotkey in the main, I can green box all the queens and go boop boop boop
Right.
like all 3 hatches or 2 hatches, and then it's just you can do same camera hotkey, but now you're injecting multiple hatches.
Got it. Wow, cool. I think all these little things have been super helpful on on like microwaves to improve the overall flow of my macro. And then one of the big lessons was the engagements. I think the emphasis on doing a two-prong, even in a situation like this, I think I would have never done that
Yeah, no, I mean
because I
the
would think,
roaches and lings are so useless here. You made them for purpose, but they're useless now. So the lings and roaches, their purpose was to not die to adepts early. The lings were supposed like because the lings when you make them, it's in case the Protoss gets really aggressive with some awkward timing where he's like showing up and you're like, oh god, I need stuff, and you're not gonna just have because the worst thing you can do is Zerg right now. I'm telling you, and this is so many Zergs do this when they try to play greedy when they don't know how to play greedy, but this is the worst thing you can do. Make lings after you lose drones. Or same thing with roaches. Make roaches after you lose drones. Like you're thinking to yourself, I'm going to play greedy, so I'm going to make no defense, and I'm just going to make drones. And then you lose 7 drones, and then you're making units at the same time. So you're losing double because you're investing into units and losing drones.
you lose. Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
when you make units as a response to knowing you can lose drones, and you don't lose any drones because of that, you only make units, and now you're not double dipping your larva negatively. Essentially, you're only
Right,
doing a
right.
single investment. So it's really important to know when to make units at different points in the game, and that's why you make the lings and roaches when you did, because you did it early on to pressure him if he's too greedy. Otherwise, you're also using it defensively, so adepts can't kill you for early on. And then the roaches happen
Okay.
later on when he could have now the upgrade of like, let's say he wants to have more adepts instead of now like 2 or 3. Now he could have like 6 or 7. So that's why you add in roaches, because 14 lings does not beat 7 adepts. But now if you add in 5 roaches to that, you destroy 5 adepts or 7 adepts or whatever. And then on top of that, you're not over investing in roaches. You're not like going for like 30 roaches. You're not freaking out. You're just making enough to deny harassment, so you
Right.
can be really greedy and protect it. And then once you get to the end of the game, it's kind of silly to just throw it away and be like, oh, just kill your own units and just make hydras. It doesn't make any sense because
Right.
your money is pretty limited if you're maximizing your macro. So using them in a way to be a distraction is such a really valuable tool. And because again, if you just send them into carriers and adepts with a shield battery or something like that, they're not going to do much. They're just going to run in and die, especially since lings are also way faster than hydras and roaches. They're going to run in and immediately die, and you're going to accomplish very little. It's just going to be kind of a waste. But if you actually make it to where the Protoss has to split his army apart, it makes it so much more complicated for Protoss to deal with that. Which is because now, even though roaches and lings are not good against carriers and against adepts with batteries, they're really good against probes that aren't being defended.
Right. And actually, so long term. Okay, what actually? How did you even know he was going carriers? Did we see this area? I don't.
So we didn't know he was going carriers yet, but we did know he was going for a lot of voids, and a lot of voids means he's going Stargate focus, and carriers is an inevitability.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Okay, makes sense.
Yeah.
And so the long term, once we get rid of our lings and roaches, the long term composition that you would think in in this game would have been Hydra Ling,
It would be Hydra
was it...
Lurker again, just like you did before,
Okay.
and then excess
Okay.
supply would be lings, and you do the same thing you just did with Roachling, with Pure Ling. But the trade-off there is later on in the game, your lings now also have adrenal glands, and you'll start upgrading them as well with melee. So they actually will start ripping bases apart pretty fucking hard.
Okay.
So the ideal composition would not be like a lot of lings either. We're talking like 10 supply of lings and that's it. Like not a lot.
Okay.
It's mostly Hydra Lurker for there. And then another final thing you can do, which we haven't really touched on yet, and this is something I honestly do not even think you need to do at all in Diamond League. But once you get to like Masters and beyond, it'll become a bit more relevant. If you're in the stage of the game where you're maxed out, you have the map split like with Protoss and you guys are just trying to figure out ways to attack each other. You know they're going Sky Toss, and you have a bank. You're like, I have 3,000 minerals and 1,900 gas, and I can't spend it because nothing's dead. Adding in spores is huge, like we talked about, but also adding in a spire is nice there, and you just get carapace upgrades, and it gives you the option, if things get out of hand, to remax Corruptor against Mass Carrier, because if you have carapace Corruptors against a lot of carrier, you can totally fuck them over.
And in that situation, do you let the Corruptors do their thing and they hit the Interceptors?
No, you have to focus fire. You have to focus fire. Corruptors, the reason why is because there's two types of units that fight carrier, and if you identify what they are, you know what to do with them. And the two types of units are slow heavy hitters or fast weak hitters. If you have fast weak hitters like a Hydra, they can totally kill interceptors because there's not going to be wasted DPS. But a Corruptor is definitely a slow heavy hitter, and what that means is there's going to be a term called overkill. You're going to have like...
Oh, they're one-hitting the interceptors,
exactly.
It's wasting so much
exactly. You're like,
potential.
Hydras will kill interceptors so fast because they're shooting so quickly that there might be like 10 damage overkill to kill interceptor or something like that.
Right.
But a group of Corruptors might overkill interceptor for like 120. Where it's like an interceptor only has like 80 health, and you might hit it for like 200 or some shit like that. And you're like, whoa, okay. Too many Corruptors shot that one interceptor. That was not good. And then meanwhile, his interceptors are weak fast hitters. So, because there's 8 of them hitting you every 2 seconds. So they're hitting you essentially every 0.25 seconds. And they're just slamming Corruptors while you're killing a periodic interceptor one at a time here and there.
Right.
So, but if you could have, instead of killing that one interceptor, if you kill one carrier, you kill 8 interceptors all at once. So you definitely want to make sure you focus fire carriers in that realm instead of letting them just A-move.
Okay, I see. So if we had gotten to the point where he did have all those carriers, I guess it's the same drill as last time. Let's have our lurkers be in a line. Let's focus on the interceptors because we have Hydras now.
Yep.
But if the game kept going on, you're saying we should then have a backup Spire with Carapace.
Yeah, that
what goes mass.
like keep in mind too, the Spire thing is not going to activate until probably like 28 minutes in the game or like 30 minutes in the game. You're not going to use it as a priority. Like you're going to use it as a final like decision. It usually happens when the Protoss decides to like base trade you, and like let's say you cripple his base and nothing's happening, and then the Protoss is now like, you know, you crippled his base but he killed your army for it, and then he just goes all in. And you're like, okay, maybe not make Hydras again, because he's like, he has no probes now. He has like 27 carriers. It's like a lot of carriers here. This is really scary. The only way you could deal with that is either Corruptor Carapace or Hydra with Microbial Shroud. And Microbial Shroud, I'm not going to lie, is harder to fucking use. It's
half the time I forget which hotkey button it is. So.
No, it's harder to use for sure. So Corruptor would make it easier because all you do is you make a lot and you just right-click a carrier, right-click a carrier, right-click a carrier. And then you're good to go.
Oh,
Yeah,
I see. Okay, so because my games usually don't go that deep right now. It
yeah,
seems
100%.
like
That's why I
really just a
said yeah,
Hydra focus.
for
I
sure.
see.
That's why it's like a Masters Plus thing.
Okay.
For sure. So definitely don't think about it too much right now. Just think about that like you'll realize this is a thing because there is a critical mass point of carriers where if they have a lot of probes, they're not going to have a critical mass of carriers. You can definitely deal with it with Hydras relatively if you know how to micro it. But if the Protoss is like if the game is going back and forth and the Protoss develops a bank and you kill economy, so they have bank already there, but you kill supply of probes now, they can just replace that supply with more carrier. And the Protoss might get to a point where they go, all right, I'm going to push you now with 8 probes and fucking 190 supply of carriers. You're like, okay, that's a lot of carriers. Holy shit. At that point, you need Corruptor to not die. That's why it's like
Okay.
going to be like, that's like a super late situation, which could happen sometimes, where it's just like a ridiculous carrier count, which is
Right.
definitely going to be more. That's a critical mass of like, holy crap, this is a lot. And Hydras don't do much here anymore unless you have
Right.
Microbial Shroud.
Oh, okay. Okay, makes sense. So that's helpful. So I think that's something I probably don't have to worry about right now. It's more on just the engagements with the current composition in that situation.
Yeah, no, for sure. It's for now. It's just like, like if you can just maximize, um, zoning out Protoss the way we talked about with Lurker Hydra, and then you can do the same thing. So even though you're being aggressive, you can take a defensive stance in an aggressive position where you draw a line of the sand that is now at their nexus,
Yes.
and you never cross that line again. So you can still do that same mechanic aggressively. And then a good thing to add in is if the game gets to a point where the Protoss has a decent amount of expansions, you always throw Ling counterattacks at his new expansions, and you try to split the map where one of your sides of your army goes one way and another side goes the other way. So you don't want to attack
Okay.
like at the 5 o'clock and at the 4 o'clock position. You want to attack
Right,
at like the
right,
6 o'clock and the 12 o'clock position, where you're like way opposite. So again, it makes the Protoss have to go, oh shit, now I got to warp and stuff over there. I got to put some of my carriers over
right.
there. Like it just makes him have to split himself up, and it causes chaos.
Okay. Oh man, interesting. I see. Well, I've always wanted to get to masters, and I feel like this is by far the most useful, helpful thing I've experienced in that journey. Maybe
Sure,
I
that's awesome.
I gotta cancel my gym memberships and put them towards
Yeah.
some more lessons. I'm kidding. I don't
No,
have a
yeah,
gym
that's
membership.
all good. Yeah, it's all good, man. But another thing, a big thing to look at too. Again, this is something that will happen more maybe at the top end of Diamond or probably Masters. But if you can add it into good creep spread with good spore pushes on that creep is a great way also to add in your like if the Protoss is super defensive and you're like finding it hard to break him, adding in
Okay.
spore creep pushes with your lurker line is so massively good.
Oh, you mean offensively?
Yeah,
Like
offensive
moving my
creep.
creep
Yep.
towards his... Okay.
Like if you have like, let's just say you're at a point in the game where the map is split, and you're like, this guy is so fucking defensive. He like never leaves his base. Every time I attack, I lose my fight. So what do I
Right.
do? You could genuinely make like 30 spore crawlers and then remake all of those drones that you made into spores if you have a lot of money. So you could be like, all right, it's like 15 spores on the south side, 15 spores on the north side, and then remake
I
all
see.
these drones that I just lost. So I'm not sitting at like
Okay.
50 drones right now.
Right.
And then shove them forward with your creep and camp them with your lurker. And then if he
Okay.
engages you, now it's not just engaging a lurker line, he's engaging a lurker spore line, which is way harder to deal with. And then now you have lurker spore, like Hydras behind lurker spore that are just popping interceptors just like they were before. But a Hydra and a spore do very similar damage. Spore actually does more DPS than a Hydra. And then it also tanks like crazy. It has 400 hit points as opposed to 90 of a Hydra. So it's a super tank. It's like a bunker for Zerg essentially. And then you're making it even easier to deal with the defensive player that is sitting there. And then you can keep
Makes
shoving
sense.
lurkers and spores in his face over and over and over. And then that also makes it to where it's gonna guarantee if you can really fortify a location like that, and like even like you're slowly shoving it into his face, but you're fortifying it repeatedly, it makes it to where you know where he is, and it makes it even easier to then set up link counterattacks.
Oh, interesting. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah. Also, don't be afraid too to add a Nidus with that. You can add in a Nidus for him and counterattack his main with Lings, so you don't always have to do
Oh,
the other side of the
because,
map. If you want to say, well, Vibe, I can't really attack the south side of the map with Lings because I have to go through his natural, which is way higher, and I
Right.
want to attack his third at the same time. So you say split him up, but I can't. Well, you can Nidus him then, and be like, I'll menace the
Okay.
back of your main, and then at the same time I'll hit the front of your third, something like that.
Uh, I see. And I guess so. One thing we didn't get to is continually upgrading. You know, like when you see pro players, eventually they're at like 3-3 upgrades. I don't think I've ever been at 3-3 upgrades. And how? I
So
guess what is
the
it?
the
Yeah.
biggest thing you want to look at there is that's more of a time reference, and the best way to understand your upgrades would be with the build, the way your build's going. Just start 1-1. It's like as soon as you start your evos, think to yourself, okay, in like 15, 20 seconds, I need to go back and check that again and just start 1-1 because it's like soon after I made those things. It's not a long time
Right.
to build an evo, but then think to yourself, the way I'm kind of having you do this build, start 2-2 around the time you start lurker upgrades. So, because that's going to be the difference of time for you then to add in an infestation pit, for you then to add in a
Okay.
hive, and then also you're adding in the lurker den when you add in the hive. Once your hive's done, your 1-1's going to be basically done, and you can start 2-2. And then 3-3 is going to be a reminder that basically says, if you think about 2 minutes after you started 2-2, you can start 3-3. Because the way it kind of goes is, if you think about this too, 90 seconds is roughly, like, this is not exact, okay? But roughly 90 seconds is 1-1, roughly 2 minutes is 2-2, and roughly 2.5 minutes is 3-3.
Okay. So you kind of just you're I guess once the Evo chambers are done, you pretty much have this expectation from that point onwards that you're gonna keep upgrades going
On
until you hit
non-stop, yes.
3-3.
You
Okay.
want to try to maximize, like, you don't want to have an upgrade not being rolled. You want to always roll
Okay.
upgrades 1-2-3 every time. And then once you finish 3-3 for whatever you're going for, I would say, generally speaking, if you see a Stargate, you should just prioritize Carapace over melee. The only time you should
Okay.
ever prioritize melee over Carapace is if they're a ground-focused Protoss.
But you mean, oh, so in this case we would do 3-3, meaning missile attacks and carapace,
Yep.
right? So
So
you're saying that after this prioritize, you mean like a spire carapace?
no, okay. So let me say it like this. So we're talking just about only evos right now, just evos.
Oh, okay, okay.
If, like, no matter what, always get double evo with the way you're playing this build, and always get missile weapons every time. The Hydra of ranged
Oh,
weapon
okay.
upgrade and stuff like that. Always get that every single time. The only option is melee or carapace as the secondary. So
Got it.
that comes down to, if they have a Stargate, just always get carapace as the primary, as like you're all gonna go missile weapons and carapace all the way to 3-3, and then go for melee after you get 3-3 on missile carapace. If they go Stargate, if they go ground, if they're like, I'm going Immortals, or I'm going Archons, or I'm going Blink Stalkers, it is so much better to get melee and missile weapons instead. And the reason why is because there are a lot of breakpoints that Protoss has that kill your units regardless of carapace
Sure.
on the
Makes
ground.
sense.
So yeah, like Adepts kill Lings in 2 shots regardless. Immortals kill Roaches in 3 shots regardless. Stuff like that. So you want to definitely get melee if it's that way, because the reason why that's so good is because Lings can not only buffer your army by helping DPS a little bit, but the more melee upgrades you have, the more threatening Ling counterattacks are, and a ground focused Protoss is so susceptible to like Ling run-bys.
And how did you know what makes you know when to do the infestation pit and then hive?
So that's just tech path. You need an infestation pit to start the hive, and then also the infestation pit is like a 30-second roughly building up, like timer build time, and then the hive is
So the hive just comes right after.
the hive is also like 70 seconds, so it's 71 exactly, or 79 actually. I think it's like 70 something, but it's roughly like 100 seconds together, and 100 seconds together is just under 2 minutes. It's like that's like the minute and a half realm I was talking about. Where I'm like, that's what I'm saying. It's not exact, but if you can just remember averages, like a minute and a half for the upgrade, that's roughly how you want it to go. So it's mostly because of the time of what it takes to make it is why I tell you to do it when I tell you to do it. But the second part about why I want you to do it is because it flows your lurker timing with, like, lurkers are awful before hive, but they're really good once you have hive. So it makes you have
I see.
a well-timed lurker with good upgrades.
So how do I like what's the trigger for, oh hey, it's now time to make the infestation pit and the
Starting to
lurker
saturate
den?
your fourth. Like,
Oh,
once
starting
you
to
make
okay,
that
okay.
80, once you push to that 80 drone count, you then need to think to yourself, I need to be pairing this with a hive, and which means I need to start manifestation pit, and then when I start my hive, I need my lurker den too. I don't care if you make the lurker den with the infestation pit or with the hive. If you have the money to do it, definitely do it with the infestation pit. But if you're like a god of macro and you're like, I only have 50 minerals in the bank every time because I'm pushing everything as fast as I can, then probably delay it till the hive. For that lurker den, I mean.
See. Okay, so I feel like because I've actually never heard like this is the first time I think it can kind of be broken down maybe for me, where it seems like the phase one is when you have your first two bases. Phase three is when you've got your third hatch, and then there's a phase four where you've got your fourth hatch. So it's like but when you're starting to do your third hatch is when you're doing your first stage of like real tech, like Hydras and
Yep.
Evo start eventually
Mm-hmm.
coming out, and then only once you hit your fourth base are you then going all the way up to Hive and what's beyond.
Pretty much. I would say if you break the game down, the way I would break it down in like 3 stages
Okay.
would be stage 1 is macro. Stage 1 is economy
Okay.
development, and you want to get as little gas as possible, but you want to protect it. So you make enough
Okay.
gas just to protect your greedy ass drone count. So that's
Okay.
that's phase 1 is the economy development, which pairs a lot with creep spread, with injects, with that kind of stuff. Phase
Okay.
2 is tech development, which is you're starting your that's when you're like you're already kind of well saturated on 3 bases, and you still will
Okay.
continue that phase a little bit later, but now you're starting your tech development because you can afford it properly without disrupting your economy essentially. Like you're not sacrificing economy to start tech. So phase 2 starts after 3 base saturated, which is adding in you're really starting to make
Okay.
hydras, you're starting to make
Okay.
upgrades, you're starting to make infestation pit here soon. Stage 3 though, like so stage 1 is economy, stage 2 is tech, stage 3 is in-game development. Like you're now preparing for
Right.
like your lurkers are going to get ready to go, which is going to be your final stage of the game. You're really getting your upgrades to final stage of the game. You're continuing them to like 3-3. Your goal is 3-3 obviously. Your hive is on the way. You're getting all your supreme choices you can have throughout the game and stuff like that. And then your economy is fully situated, and you're making choices then that only increase your power in the late game, like preparing for spores or shit, like things like that. Like you're preparing to like split the map if it has to be that way. Otherwise, you're preparing
Okay.
for like your attacks to break them apart.
So there's a point between phase two and phase three where you decide that hey, beyond just my, like safety roaches, that I need to now start making more units, right? Is that
You
it,
this
it's around
is probably the
66?
easiest way for every Zerg player to understand.
Okay.
There's 2 gears for Zerg to like that are turning that you need to think about. One is the primary gear that you need to really like babysit the most. You want to get the gear turning as fast as possible, which is your economy gear. How can you
Right.
get to the maximum 80 drum count you want as fast as you possibly can? And that's what I'm guiding you on doing every game, which is
Okay.
getting there as soon as possible, because every unit you make that is not going to be useful, that is not a drone, is a waste of your time if you're not fully turning that economy gear. But once the economy gear is fully turning, then you start turning the army gear, and that is going to turn as fast as possible as a result of it. Because if you're like, it's like one gear is based off the other. So if your economy gear is not turning full power and you start turning that military gear, it only makes sense if you're getting all in, because then your opponent's economy gear is also not turning full power, and it's just a response to that. But if like, let's just say your opponent is macroing, he's trying to hit 80 probes, whatever, he's sitting there just playing defensive, and you start turning that military gear when your economy gear is only 2/3 of the speed of what it should be. Like, it means you stopped at like 60 drones and not 80 or some shit like that, or like 50 drones, whatever.
Right.
At that point, you're gonna have the military gear is only gonna be turning also at like, like 2/3 of what it could be turning. It's not gonna be turning full speed because you can't afford it. So,
So maybe
yeah.
this is a hard question to ask. Like maybe because this might be not super clear, but you made it very clear in your B2GM. There's this time where you can do those like 8 to 10 safety roaches, which
Yeah.
is making a lot of sense. But is there a general second round of safety stuff that you should be making that's typically beneficial, or
So
not really?
lings always happen around your ling speed. That way, because we talked about that. So you can like pressure his third. You can be scouting with it and stuff like that. Your first round of safety roaches happen around 4.5 minutes. It's right around when your roach one's done. If you take your roach one at like 3-minute 30, 3-minute 40, and then you're making your drones, you can start making roaches at like 4:20, 4:30, and you just make like 5. Then with your Ling Scouts, you're trying to get information that tells you if the Protoss is going to be all in or if he's going to be macro. If the Protoss does not take a third base after 5 minutes, like let's say you haven't seen a Stargate and he also hasn't taken a third base, and now you're at 5 minutes and 9 seconds, and there's not even a probe even trying to take a third right now, and you
Right.
check the door, the Protoss's front door, and he's got 9 adepts behind the door, or like 7 adepts behind the door. I'd be like, okay, well, off of those safety roaches, you can now make more, which that's why you make the safety roaches, because it like sets up the fight for you, and you can now just continue to pump if you're gonna get all in. So you should know if you're gonna get all in by the time you start droning again. That's what the lings tell you. And then if there's no all in coming, you stop roaching on the safety. Like 5 is good, because then it deals with harass, that's when they're gonna be taking a third base. So if the third base goes down by like 445, 455, and you're like, your lings get killed by 2 adepts, just like this game, and you're like, oh, he's taking the third base. Don't worry about it. Like he cannot afford like 8 gateways with a third that fast. It's impossible. It'd be like saying you could have, at that point in time, you have like 50 roaches while having 70 drones. Like you just can't. It's impossible. So
pretty much we're racing to that 80 something drones unless something.
You're
otherwise.
trying to discover all in tendencies, and if you don't, you drone again. So safety 1 is off of, or like 4.5 minutes. Safety 2 is off of 3 base saturation. That's when you start making hydras. That's why I said you want to hydra up, or like roach up to like maybe 110, 120 supply, and then
I think you said 16 hydras. Was that when you said around 16?
Yeah.
Hydras,
It was because you had, the reason why I said 16 is because I was kind of doing the math on what you had, and I was trying to get you up to around 120 supply. But like if you made like only 5 roaches and it was just drones, you might end up making like 22 hydras or something like that. So it's just getting you to like a decent amount of supply, like up to about 120 supply, including drones and queens. And then you go back into making drones just for one quick round, because the reason why that works so well is because if you know your opponent's taking a third base, which is why you're going to saturate your 4th base, you go, all right, if he attacks me now, right when I make those drones, I still have a decent chance to not die, because his attack is not going to be as full power as it could have been if he was doing a 2 base all in. So I can use my initial safety that I made 120 supply off of to stall the fight out a little bit on my creep, like maybe poke him back up, whatever you got to do. And it, like, this comes from creative micro. Like, really understanding micro is something that we talked about with like the lurker setup, knowing what you're doing with that, trying to make sure you maximize every second, because then you're cranking out 4 fully productive bases off of 80 drones, which means your supply is going to explode so fast to 200 supply as long as you're not missing injects. So that's why the safety, so the safety is not, the biggest thing to understand about safety is it's not all you're supposed to have to not die. It's what's supposed to stall the fight before it really happens, and it buys you time to make more. That's what safety really is. Safety only wins the fight if it's just harass. And just harass is very obvious because it's very tiny. It's like, oh, it's 4 adepts or it's 5 adepts and that's it. It's not like 3 immortals, 8 sentries, and 12 stalkers and a warp prism warping and shit. That's not a harass.
Right.
That's fucking aggressive. So then you'd like, but the safety can like buy you time to make more shit during that. So you like basically, the point of safety is, another way to explain it is it keeps your opponent busy, not on your economy, so that you develop faster than he does and you outproduce him.
Right. Yeah, I remember seeing this one video, it must have been in Beta GM. You had just your safety roaches and you had nothing else, and by the time the guy finally started attacking you, you just kept pumping in units at the last second and they defended your base. So so that makes sense. You know, as I was looking at the mini-map while you were talking, I realized my creep spread is never this good, and as soon as you're not going to be in my ears to remind me, I'm going to forget again. Do you have a rhythm or something? Are you singing a song or something? How do you know? It's inject,
It's
creep,
it's just internal timers. I think it's just, that's something you'll get from experience. But if I were to ask you this, do you know the cooldown of a creep tumor?
No, I don't.
Yeah, that's something you need to know, because there's 2 of them. There's a queen creep tumor. There's a queen creep tumor cooldown, and there's a actual creep tumor cooldown. So the queen's creep tumor cooldown is 25 energy, and I would say it roughly takes you like 20 seconds to get 25 energy or so. So for the queen,
it's not 1 energy per second.
No, it's like I think it's like 1.4 or some shit like that. It's something different, but it's like
is that a standard energy?
All of them, all units have the same energy generation. So with your queen, you want to basically every time you inject, you can remember. Oh yeah, I need to also inject my spawn a creep tumor, because that's also another way you can remember it, is an inject and a creep tumor at the same energy cost. But with a creep tumor, it's 11 seconds, so it's faster. You can actually get almost 2 creep tumors off. It's not quite 2, but it's almost 2. Exactly. So if you're really adamant about checking on that, you can spread your creep really fucking fast. So
Wow.
yeah, it's 11. Just if you remember, about every 10 seconds, I need to be spreading creep. So it means you should be
Okay.
spreading creep 6 times a minute.
Wow. That's wow. That's amazing. That's insane. Like I can barely remember what I'm supposed to build next. So I guess, but that'll come with practice. So
Yeah, yeah.
but that's very helpful because I previously never had no one set an expectation. So when you put it like that, based on those timers, now at least I have an expectation or a benchmark of, what's efficient versus not efficient.
Yeah. No, it's definitely uh, you want to have what's it called? You want to just have like those tasks that are like the tedious like macro fundamentals that you have to do. They need to be so repetitive for you that you're honestly checking them more than they even happen. So like you're making an effort to like make sure that even if it's not ready to go, you're ready for it to be ready to go. Because
I see.
there's a lot of stuff in StarCraft 2 that is very easily automated if you just do it repetitively. That's where you get people
Right.
that have like 300 APM, where they're doing shit fucking repeatedly so much, and it becomes like a rhythm on the keyboard where even though you can't make a drone, you're going 5SD, 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 5SD. Even though
Right,
you
right.
can't spread a
Okay,
creep
so
tumor,
that's
you're
muscle
checking it.
memory I need to build.
Yeah, exactly.
Cool. Wow. Wow, thank you so much. Well, my only thing is, why didn't we do this sooner?
No,
This is the
it's all
most
good, man. I appreciate it.
amazing.
I'm glad it's
Thank you.
helping, and it was a really good lesson. There's a lot to talk about and a lot of things to help you improve and move forward. And I feel like the a lot of stuff that we talked about today is applicable to Zerg or to ZVZ and ZVT as well. Like there's
Okay.
like the scouting fundamentals, the creep fundamentals, the queen fundamentals. These things are super applicable to all matchups. Maybe not the exact build order, but that's
Sure.
something that you can definitely like grab from anywhere really, like a replay from a pro or my replay pack, even if you want whatever you really want to
Yep.
do.
Yep.
But uh, yeah, definitely fix your queen thing.
Oh,
That'll help a lot.
yeah.
Really keep up on your macro fundamentals. That'll help a ton. And then always think to yourself that uh, as long as you're maximizing those things and you're really capitalizing on these attacks when like you hit 200 supply, and you can even do the thing we talked about where like you do like a multi-prong. These things will help you so much going down the road in Diamond because as I said before, you might just win the game off of this first attack.
Right.
I honestly think you'll win a lot of games if you get good at it. Like you will actually win most of your games in Diamond doing that. A lot of people just fall apart.
Sorry. Just you mean with that multi-prong
Yeah, like the
in
Roach
that
Ling and then Hydra attack.
yeah, yeah.
Like a lot of players will break to things like that all the time
Yeah.
because a lot of people they're kind of how you were talking throughout this lesson from time to time, where you're like, okay, do this, do this.
Ah!
Okay, yeah, am I getting overwhelmed? Oh my god, things are falling apart.
Yeah, yeah.
So, and something I've said before, and I think it's a good thing to reference right now, is if you can do something that takes, if you can set up a task in the game that takes less time for you to create it, and it takes more time for your opponent to solve it, is probably
Sure.
one of the best ways you can play the game. So
Wow, that's so profound.
if you can,
That's
yeah,
true.
if you can make Ling Roach, you spend 2 seconds on it. You go, guys, go over there. And now Protoss has to spend 10 seconds being like, oh my god, probes run, units split. Like, that creates a problem for him that is wasting his time like crazy.
Wow, that's a yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, just, it's something that I'm definitely not going to be like, you're an expert now already after today. But after, like, doing this for, like, months or, like, weeks, you'll definitely start to feel like, holy crap, I'm, like, always getting advantages here. This feels really good because my opponents never keep up with what I'm doing, and it's not even that hard because I'm so used to it. Like, I can execute this in 2 seconds because I just go, guys, hey, move there, we're done. And he's like, if you go back to your replay and you like look at his camera when you do that, you're like, holy fuck, this guy's like flailing it around everywhere, being like, run there, run here, run there, warp in here, and it's just things start falling apart for your opponent, and you watch his money go up because he's not macroing anymore. Things like that just make everyone fall
yeah,
apart.
yeah. Yeah, thanks. I know what I'm doing for the rest of the day. I'm just gonna try to implement and practice the things we talked about, and definitely build that muscle memory with the new habits that you're trying to help form. And then I guess I'll give that some time, and I can't wait until we do this again. I'd love to do this again.
Yeah,
When I
I'm down.
progress a little bit more and build up from there.
I'm always available. I always have coaching lessons going on throughout week to week, but I'm sure we can always organize a time, and we'll definitely do it
Sure.
again, man.
Cool. Are you gonna continue streaming the rest of the
Yeah,
day?
I'll
Or
probably stream for the next like 4 hours or something. We'll stream for a bit
Okay.
longer.
Oh, so yeah, so I guess I'll probably just keep watching anyway. It's always very entertaining, no matter what I'm doing. I love watching your
All
stream.
right, thanks, man. I appreciate it. You're a really fun. You have so much good energy. You're a really fun person to coach, and good luck in the rest of your games
Thank you.
today.
Thank you. Thanks so much, Vibe. Until next time, take
Yep.
care.
Later, man. Take it easy.
See ya. Thank you.
All right, guys. That has been a coaching lesson with Brown Ranger. He's a super nice guy. The guy was super cool. And yeah, also if you're still listening, Brown Ranger, I'll have that uploaded by probably like tomorrow on YouTube. So that I'll message you in Discord privately for the link to your own VOD, so you can always watch it again. But guys, thanks for watching. Sorry I had no webcam today. I'm genuinely, my webcam is broken. I normally have a tissue in the nose kind of thing going on, but today it's actually fucking broken. I don't know what's going on with it, so that sucks. But we'll see. But thanks for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one. Take it easy. Much love and good luck in your own games, guys. Peace.